What's up, everyone? How are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto neglected by family Vergil? If you enjoy, then please like, share, and do comments. Have you ever wondered about a different side of Naruto's world? Welcome to Ninja Seduction on Patreon. We create mature, thoughtfully written what-if Naruto stories, along with exclusive comics and premium quality audio. Our community is interactive. Members can vote in polls, share ideas, and help guide future stories. If you enjoy creative storytelling and a more grown-up ninja experience, we'd be happy to have you join us on Patreon. The link is provided in the description. Some things have always been. There have always been angels and there have always been demons, and they have always been at constant war as the forces of good and evil colliding. One day, a demon named Sparta fell in love with an angel called Eva. The two had two twin boys being half demon and half angel. These two boys were Nephilim, hybrids of angel and demon. One was a newborn and the other was a 5-year-old, with the newborn having been born on the same night. The leaf was attacked by the demon fox, also known as the 9-tailed demon fox. On that night, the family of angels and demons were found by the demons themselves, with Eva sacrificing herself in order for Sparta to escape with their sons. As powerful of a demon that Sparta was, there was no way that he could keep them safe so long as the demons were on his trail. The demons would not stop until Sparta and the rest of his family was dead. So with a heavy heart, Sparta separated the two twins. One was Vergil, the eldest of the twins, who was sent off to an orphanage with his memory wiped clean, and the other was the newborn Dante, who was given to a family within the leaf, being the same village being attacked by the 9 tails on the night of October 10th. That family that Sparta gave the newborn Dante to were Minato and Kushina, who had just had their newborn daughter, Katana Namikaze, and the family on that same night took Dante and giving him a new name to protect the newborn. That new name was Naruto Namikaze, who would be the older brother of their family. Sparta then vanished, and Minato never heard from him again from that night. However, for some reason, Minato knew that Sparta was never coming back again. The ending result of the 9 tails attack was the sealing of the fox, but not into Naruto, but into Katana. And the sealer was not the 4th, but the 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. The 3rd did not want a still recent Hokage of the village to die so young and early in his role to protect his people. And so the 3rd took his place in the sealing of the 9 tails. As a result of those events that took place on that night, Minato was alive and would continue his rule as the 4th Hokage and Kushina to take care of the two newborns. However, the 4th and Kushina realized that if the public knew their daughter was the carrier of the fox, then the public would call for her death, and harm would come upon her, so both the 4th and his wife concocted a lie in fear for Katana. The 4th told the public that the soul of the 9 tails was sealed within Naruto Namikaze, while only its chakra was within their daughter Katana Namikaze. As a result, the hate was turned on Naruto, having been indirectly and unintentionally made the scapegoat. It was not an end result that neither Minato nor Kushina wanted. They figured that if knowing such a concept as soul and chakra being split, thus in a sense rendering the existence of the fox, that they would not see either child as the fox and believe the fox was gone for good, and that Naruto and Katana would be hailed as heroes. It didn't go as planned. Parents would do anything to protect their children, right? Unfortunately, they only made one of the two life unintentional misery. Of course, their daughter was the container of the 9 tails, and not Naruto, because there was no soul of the fox sealed within Naruto. Fast forward 12 years later, as a result, as the years gone by, Katana were treated as a hero, loved by everyone, which is what Minato and Kushina wanted to see happen to both their children. But unfortunately, Naruto was hated, despised by the entire village populace, except for a few, resulting in a life of slowly building hatred toward the village and its people as well as his parents. Naruto Namikaze was a young boy of the Namikaze family and the older brother of Katana Namikaze, son of Minato and Kushina Namikaze. That is what he was led to believe until he figures out the ultimate truth eventually. He had blonde hair, unlike inheriting Kushina's red like his sister did, that he inherited from his real mother unbeknownst to him, and not Minato, with his hair not being like the style of Minato's when the man was young. He had blue eyes that right now looked empty as he looked upon watching his sister being trained by Minato and Kushina in the training yard in the back of their household. He had been neglected by his so-called parents that he felt he might as well have had no parents at all. Why was it that they were like this with him most of the time? Sometimes when they did look at him with a smile, even if barely noticeable, that they both seemed to turn away from him in misery, and Naruto noticed that it was especially apparent with his father, Minato. He didn't know why, but when he saw instances of that every time with the man looking away from him, he can only think of one thing that was reflecting from his eyes when the man looked away in shame. That word was failure. What was it that made his father look and feel that way? Was it failure in himself, or worse, was in failure in him? Naruto wanted to become a ninja as well as enter into the academy. To be honest, the reason he wanted to become a ninja was not out of some competition with his sister, but it was really for him to prove himself to his parents. He was actually rather excited to go and ask his parents to be enrolled so that he can show them and make them proud. As that day slowly came, his parents were focused only on his younger sister, Katana Namikaze, and the worst part was when they said that he was not ready to become a ninja or even begin his training. He didn't understand why they would say that. Why would you say that? If you want someone to get better or be ready, then the first step is to practice and teach. It didn't make sense to him. Did they even want to bother with him? Was he not a son to their eyes? Was he not as precious to them as his little sister? When the day eventually came that Katana would go to attend the academy, Naruto felt broken and, of course, angry. He had no choice but to stay by his father and mother's side as he watched Katana walk into the academy to being her path as a ninja. While she did that, Naruto stood there not knowing what to do. He actually began training himself from watching others practice from afar, but he had someone that watched over his from the shadows teach him a thing or two. He knew his name, but he can't say it out loud, but he only knew him as Weasel. Within 3 years of his sister attending said academy, she would receive her final exam, becoming a genin at 15 years of age. Naruto always wondered why his parents wouldn't let him attend within those 3 passing years, not caring if Katana was ahead of him. He actually found out the hard way and why they wouldn't train him and wouldn't let him go. Why? The villagers, knowing that Naruto wanted to become a ninja, went on to make a petition of sorts denying Naruto entry into the ninja program. Gathering enough signatures were signed at a fast rate numbering in the thousands, and it went to the elders who were advisors to the cage. The major fear and why Minato approved of it, Naruto would never know. Minato didn't want to do it, but he had no choice but to approve, as he imagined Katana in Naruto's place if everyone knew the truth of who the carrier of the 9 tails was. Goddamn, Minato felt like crap for doing this to Naruto. Neither he nor Kushina wanted things to go this far. They didn't intend for the village to hate him with such malice as they did. Whether they liked it or not, he knows that this whole thing is their fault. Something told Minato that if Sparta were here, then the demon would have killed him, and Minato did care for Naruto, and he saw Naruto being Katana's protector due to the hatred that was put on the son of Sparta. One day, the 12-year-old Naruto turned away watching Minato and Kushina train their daughter, walking over to the mirror that was set up in the corner of his upstairs room, and looked at his own reflection, noticing the reflection of the necklace around his neck. He grabs the red amulet that was left to him from what Minato told him was given to him by his mother. As he gazed into the red stone, so much it was as if he were looking into another dimension, standing there like a zombie. He sighed, letting go of the amulet, and looked to the clock in his room, seeing that 10 minutes had passed by. Sometimes he gazed into the amulet for hours on end. That always happens when he gazes upon his amulet. He then unbuttoned his shirt, pulling it up and over his head, dropping it aside, turning around, looking over his shoulder, gazing upon the symbol that was upon his back between his shoulder blades. At first he thought it was a tattoo, but it looked to be a symbol that was a part of his skin, or maybe it was put amongst his back by some unknown means. It was what looked to be a sword, and there were parting wings besides the guard of the blade. He had a strong feeling that there was more to all of this. This symbol on his back, he knew, was not of Minato or Kushina's doing so, who could have put this upon him, and for what reason. Then there was also the case of him seeing things that was what he described as disturbing. Sometimes he would see people in the village, some being a key word here, have their eyes vanish, looking to have gouged out eyes and blood seeping down their cheeks. He wondered if there was something wrong with him, or whether he was just seeing things, or maybe it was just his imagination, because after all he was still just a kid. Now he didn't see this all the time, but just a few times. Fast forward 2 years later, Naruto is now 14 years of age this day because today was October 10th, the day that the Nine Tails attacked the village, and today was a day of celebration. It was the day that the fourth, along with the many heroes that gave their lives for the village as well as the hero Katana. It should be a day of two heroes. It should be a day of celebration for those that died against the fox and for Katana and Naruto. However, it was mostly seen as her day. That and today was the day that Naruto would surely be attacked by the villagers again, just like last year and the year before. It was at this point Naruto officially hated his so-called parents after all the years growing up with them by his side. They still didn't train him, so he focused on training himself in basic combat. He didn't know any jutsu yet because Minato and Kushina forbid it, saying that he wasn't ready as well as saying that he still wasn't ready to become a ninja. And he of course knew at this point. They were lying. He now wore his short-sleeved, high-collared shirt like an Uchiha of the Uchiha clan would wear, with the parting V revealing some of his chest in the front, with his amulet dangling from around his neck, with a pair of black ninja sandals to finish it all off. Naruto was sitting atop one of the water towers that were atop one of the many buildings within the village, watching the approaching night. He liked doing this most of the time alone. Up here he can be alone from his thoughts, away from his sister, his so-called parents, and even from the cruel words and whispers from the villagers in the streets below. He was at peace here. He reached inside his shirt, brining out his red amulet, and looked upon the red stone like he always did every single day. Naruto, deciding wanting to no longer stay here, leaps over the edge of the top of the water tower, landing upon the roof of the building. The small water tower was upon to jumping over the edge of the building, landing on the ground gracefully. He then began using the alleys of fences, walking through them, so as to avoid a confrontation from the villagers. And it's not like he was afraid or anything, because if he was attacked, he would defend himself, fighting back, giving his attackers some broken bones and bruises to remember, letting out his anger and his hatred for them as well as his family. He just right now wasn't in the mood to fight any moody villager crying over their lost ones from the attack of the nine-tailed demon fox. So you lost someone you loved to the Nine Tails all of those years ago and want to take it out on a teen? Get over it, is what he thought. Naruto, minutes later, continued to use the alleys until he came to a stop as he saw two people up ahead of him, and he knew who they were from a mile away. They were Sasuke Uchiha and Kiba, both 15 years of age like him, with Kiba looking at him with a smile, and Sasuke wearing a bored expression. In fact, it looked like Sasuke didn't even want to be here. Sasuke wore a short-sleeved, high-collared blue shirt having the crest of his clan on his back and black pants, as well as wearing blue ninja sandals and fingerless black gloves. What Naruto saw mounted behind his waist, he had a sheathed grass-cutter sword. Kiba was, of course, with his faithful companion Akamaru, as the big dog came to his side loyally. However, Naruto knew what these two wanted, or more like, what Kiba wanted, seeing as it was a high possibility he just dragged Sasuke along. How he even managed to get someone like Sasuke to come along with him on something like this was beyond Naruto. "What do you two want?" Naruto asked, not pleased seeing the two, especially Kiba. "We're bored, so we came to have fun, and fun is kicking your ass," Kiba said with a smirk, pounding his left fist into his right hand's palm. "What's your story?" Naruto asked Sasuke. "I'm not interested." Sasuke replied. "Let me guess, is the emo king thinking about his traitorous brother?" Naruto taunted. Sasuke was of course angry at Naruto now because his older brother was a touchy subject. And in said anger, he threw 6 shuriken toward Naruto as the 6 shuriken flying toward his face. But the 6 shuriken divide in flight, cutting the sides of his cheeks with 3 on each side flying past his face, making Naruto now having 3 whiskers like cuts upon his cheeks. Sasuke really had no intention of attacking Naruto in the first place, and in fact, Sasuke will even admit to himself that reacting that way, throwing shuriken, was going too far. He shouldn't have done that, but Naruto just made him remember his brother Itachi slaughtering off his entire clan, a night he could not forget, seeing the faces of his many dead clan members. His thoughts were taken away because this is when both Sasuke and Kiba witnessed seeing those cuts upon his cheeks heal themselves before their eyes at an accelerated rate, and Naruto just stood there giving them his trademark smirk. Naruto then motioned his eyes to each side of his cheeks with a smile, looking back to Sasuke. "I think you missed duck ass," Naruto replied, making fun of the shape of Sasuke's hair. "What the hell was that?" Never seen anyone heal in such a way. Is this a bloodline capability of the Uzumaki clan? Sasuke wondered. Don't let him get to you, Sasuke. He can't fight back against us, and he knows that. After all, we are the future heads of our clans, and attacking us will earn him another possible night behind bars at the local police station. It's a loss and lose situation for him, but a win and win for the two of us. Kiba said with a smirk. You think I'm not going to fight back? You sound so confident of yourself, puppy. What did you just call me? Kiba asked in a low, seething whisper. I said, come on, puppy, let's go. Naruto taunted low to the ground, clapping his hands, motioning Kiba forward. That's it, you're dead. Kiba yelled. Kiba dashes past Sasuke, who just remains standing where he has decided to watch with a critical eye activating his Sharingan eyes. Kiba leaped into the air, drawing a kunai. Why the hell is Kiba pulling a knife out to attack Naruto? Is he seriously thinking of actually killing Naruto, is what Sasuke thought. Sasuke felt that he would have to jump in and stop Kiba as he was descending upon the grinning Naruto. Naruto, in the meantime, took the opportunity and leaped up atop the fence to leaping up toward Kiba, front-flipping, brining his left foot down upon the back of Kiba's head. Naruto's movements actually caught both Kiba and Sasuke by surprise, seeing Naruto move fluidly and fast for someone who has never attended the academy. Down, boy! Naruto yelled aloud at the same time of his strike. Kiba collides with the ground, going into a tumble along the dirt with Naruto landing on his feet as Kiba flips back up with his kunai, still in hand, gritting his teeth, glaring at Naruto to wiping blood that leaked from the side of his mouth. Had enough. Naruto taunted, holding his arms apart. You're going to regret doing that. Oh, and what are you going to do about it? Are you going to go cry to your mommy, lick your wounds, mutt? Maybe you should learn to back of your bark instead of just barking bullshit out of your mouth. Kiba puts away the kunai, much to Sasuke's relief, as Kiba attacks again, dashing toward Naruto with increased speed, and when reaching striking distance, he swiped his sharpened left hand's nails with Naruto leaping back, evading, but Kiba managed to tear Naruto's shirt, leaving behind the 4 opened claw marks. Naruto looked down at his now torn shirt and back to Kiba with a glare of his own. Do you realize what you've done? Naruto asked in anger. Yeah, I cut you, Kiba said with a grin. No, you just destroyed one of my favorite shirts, you monster. Get over it. Kiba attacks again, but this time with his sharpened right hand's nails, but Naruto caught Kiba's wrist with his left hand, stopping his opponent's attack to delivering a single right hand punch across the left side of Kiba's cheek, sending the academy student flying. In fact, Kiba went crashing through the fence into someone's backyard unconscious. Sleep tight, asshole. Naruto then heard what sounded like the growls of a dog, and turning his head into said direction, there Akamaru was giving him an angry growl, so Naruto gave him his own glare, and with the point of his finger he demands aloud with authority in his voice. Sit. Guess what happened? Akamaru sat while giving a whimper, feeling the intensity from Naruto. Good boy, he said with a smile and motioned his head toward Kiba, giving the dog the sign to go to his master. Now only both Naruto and Sasuke stare at one another. How did Naruto do all that just now? He's never been to the academy and he hasn't had any training. Katana even said that her parents never trained him. Sasuke thought. What are you looking at, duckass? How what? How did you take down Kiba? Katana said that you had no training. Is that right? Are you going to fight now? Or are you going to keep looking at me like an idiot? How did your wounds heal like that? Hell if I know. Naruto replied, thinking that perhaps it was the soul of the 9 tails within him. You seem to be a worthy opponent, at least worthy enough to pique my curiosity. Sasuke slowly drew his grass cutter blade now within hand. Now that's just not fair, Naruto said, as he didn't have any weapon at all but a single kunai. Unlike Kiba, I am not going to attack with such intent and malice as he did, I promise you that. You have such chivalry of you, good sir. Naruto taunted. He let himself drop back as Sasuke was already before him, performing he had greater speed than Kiba, with the blade of his grass cutter going past Naruto's nose merely an inch away, and Naruto kicking himself away upon his back along the ground, separating himself from Sasuke before spinning himself back up to his own feet. Fast, Naruto complimented. He dodged my blade. That's impressive. In fact, it's shocking to me, because he's faster than Katana, Sasuke said in his thoughts as he readies his sword. Naruto spun out his kunai and looking upon it, his only kunai had seen better days because it was all rusty and old, and soon its use would come to an end. Damn, Naruto cursed. Standing back up to his feet, glaring upon his kunai, he threw it aside to the ground. What are you doing? What's it look I am doing? It looks like I'm fighting bare-handed. Bare-handed, is he crazy? With the popping of his neck, something then happened, as he felt the symbol on his back burn a little as well as it glows, as he looked over his shoulder and bear witness to something that he never thought in his life he would see. The handle of a blade looking to have a demonic style to it appeared with the hilt behind his left shoulder, and then the rest of the blade itself extended. DMC Rebellion. What the hell? Naruto questioned aloud. What the hell? Did he just summon a sword? Sasuke thought. Sasuke can tell seeing a blade now upon Naruto's back and had never before seen a blade summoned to the world like that before, and he didn't know Naruto knew how to wield a sword. Did Naruto know how to wield a sword? Well, Sasuke couldn't say because he doesn't know Naruto well enough to even know if he did, but he does know that Katana knows how to use a sword. Where did this come from? Naruto asked himself. He reached his right hand over his shoulder, grabbing the hilt of the blade, bringing the weapon over his shoulder to holding it in front of him. He knows it's a sword from obviously looking at it, but what was the name of it? The weapon itself just had a look that said power, and as for its name, for some reason he said, and knew was called Rebellions. Sasuke looked upon the weapon Naruto was holding and thought that he recognized it from somewhere, but he couldn't put his finger on what it was called. It looked so familiar, but from where? Not to mention the name that Naruto called it was familiar too, but from where? Naruto looked back to Sasuke, narrowing his eyes, and Sasuke doing the same. Naruto held his blade aside, pointing toward the ground. So you want to fight? Let's go, Uchiha. As if you had any experience in the use of a sword. Don't worry, I think I can manage. Naruto replied. Sasuke and Naruto dashed toward one to leaping at each other, colliding their weapons, locking them together with one another in midair, with Sasuke's grass cutter caught within the guard of Naruto's rebellion, and the two at the same time turning within the air. When both are on opposite directions of one another, they break away to sliding along the ground on their feet, having put distance between them. The two of them didn't take a moment's rest as Sasuke vanished, reappearing above Naruto, delivering a kick. But Naruto brought up rebellion, blocking Sasuke's foot to throwing the Uchiha over his shoulder. Sasuke landed on the ground to dashing toward Naruto, attacking with his grass cutter, as Naruto backing away, blocking Sasuke's strikes with rebellion effectively, which was surprising to Sasuke knowing Naruto had no training whatsoever. Naruto blocked another strike from Sasuke's grass cutter and quickly ducked, evading his opponent's steel. With rebellion in his right hand's grasp now, he swipes for Sasuke's legs as the tip of his sword grinds through the ground, with Sasuke flipping up and over Naruto, just in time before the blade cut through his legs. Naruto made an upper left smirk as he looked over his left shoulder, seeing Sasuke flipping over him, and then swings rebellion up towards Sasuke, who was about to land behind him. But Sasuke, seeing this, maneuvered himself in the air and managed to block Naruto's blade, but there was power behind the weapon's impact, causing Sasuke to fly through the air. Sasuke managed to land on his feet, sliding along the ground while making sure not to lose his balance until coming to a stop. Sasuke looked at Naruto with a surprised look. How did he do all of that just now? Sasuke asked himself, seeing as Naruto blocked all his strikes and how Naruto performed with the weapon as well as batting him away like that. Don't know where you came from, Naruto said as he was looking at rebellion in hand with a smirk, but I'm not complaining. Naruto looked back toward Sasuke with a smile while taking aim at the Uchiha with his newly acquired sword. Is that all you got? He taunted. Naruto saw Sasuke's eyes turn red, having a single comma around each pupil of his eyes. I don't know if you know this, Sasuke, but it looks as if you got a bad case of pink eye. Sasuke growled at Naruto's taunt. This isn't pink eye, you idiot, it's my clan's bloodline, Sharingan. Shari what? Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes. Sharingan. 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 Are you even speaking English anymore? Naruto continued to troll and taunt. Sasuke growls in anger, using his speed, once again vanishing to reappearing midair behind Naruto, performing a complete 360-degree kick, intended for the back of Naruto's head. But Naruto ducked while turning around, blocking Sasuke's grass cutter blade with his rebellion. Naruto took advantage of the opening, and with his free left hand, he punched Sasuke in the gut, making Sasuke spite with his eyes wide. Sasuke was sent flying through the air once again to taking a tumble until finally coming to a stop along the ground. Sasuke slowly picked himself up, having a hand upon his stomach with his blade in his other hand, as he was taking in slow and steady breaths, and looked back toward Naruto, who points his blade rebellion toward Sasuke. Naruto was no pushover, judging from the strength that Sasuke experienced from that punch, and unlike everyone else, he was not going to ever underestimate Naruto. Sasuke pointed his grass cutter blade toward Naruto, ready to continue on into battle as the two slowly circle one another. "Why are you picking a fight with me anyway, Sasuke? What are you, like Kiba too? Do you just want to harm me for satisfaction?" "No, I didn't. I never intended to fight you, that was all Kiba. However, you mocked my past and pissed me off. Shuriken to the face is your response for that. I will admit that was too far. However, seeing as how you beat Kiba so easily has made me curious, and like I told you, I wanted to fight a worthy opponent, and you are Katana's brother. And not to mention you are the son of the fourth Hokage. There is more to you than what the others say. I think it's going to be fun fighting the son of Minato," Sasuke said with a smile. Naruto then lowered his newly acquired weapon, putting it upon his back, and the rebellion to his confusion vanishes in a red flash into the brightening symbol on his back. Sasuke was also confused in why Naruto put his weapon away. Was Naruto giving up? He saw the anger in his eyes right now as Naruto then said, "He's not my father." Sasuke raises an eyebrow at Naruto's response, confused as he watched Naruto turn and walk away. Sasuke could have taunted to him, but instead he chose to just let Naruto walk away. It was what he saw within Naruto's eyes. It was anger and misery just like his. Sasuke decided to let it go as he watched Naruto continue to walk away. He heard the groans of Kiba coming back to the world of consciousness. Not his father. Why would he say that? Sasuke asked nothing but air in a low mutter, pondering. Then next thing Sasuke saw was an ANBU appear behind Naruto and hit the back of his head, knocking him unconscious. Sasuke couldn't even do anything before the ANBU ringed Naruto over his shoulder and vanished. Naruto stirred until his eyes finally opened. His vision was blurry, but then it started to clear up, and what he was looking at was a concrete ceiling, and he knew where he was. He had a strong feeling because he had been here on more than one occasion. He sat himself up, looking around, seeing the stone bed with mattress atop it and dirty pillow, and then he saw the jail bars, to realizing that his hands were bound behind his back. Looking over his shoulder, he saw the special cuffs that were upon him. They were the kind that suppressed one's chakra, and not to mention that they were on a bit too tight than they should be. "In here again, huh? I defend myself, and this is what I always get. Damn that Kiba, he must have made up some sort of story to get me thrown in here. Probably said that I attacked him and Sasuke, and it wouldn't be surprising if he did. Hold on, no way I knocked him out." He stood up upon his feet as his thoughts upon the sword rebellion coming to and where it went. He then walked over to the bars of his jail cell and kicked on it. "Hey, let me out." "Shut up down there, demon." "Very original of you. Can't you think of any other names to call me other than demon? You've called me that more than a dozen times every time you guys throw me in here." "That's enough, Naruto." Walking before and stopping before his cell was Minato, the fourth Hokage. "What are you doing here?" Naruto asked with that tone in his voice, not pleased seeing this man before him. "What does it look like? I am getting you out again." "I don't need your help." Minato watched as Naruto turned him away, choosing to go the very back of his cell to be far away from him as much as possible, turning his head away to not look upon Minato. "You're my son, and as a father I am going to remove you from this jail cell again. You're lucky I don't just leave you in here." Naruto turns to the man. "Then why don't you? You call yourself my father, yet you or Kushina don't spare me as much attention and instead focus on Katana most of the time. As far as I know, you are not my father and your wife is not my mother. You two don't treat me as a son, so why should I treat you as my parents? Don't ever call me your son, because as of this moment, I renounce the surname Namikaze. I may not be allowed to do so legally on paper, but don't you ever associate your damn name with mine." Minato would be lying if he said everything that Naruto just said didn't hurt, and right in the heart too. It was like Naruto took a knife and stabbed him in the heart. Yes, Minato will admit that he was not the greatest of a father to Naruto as he should have been. He promised Sparta that he would take care of the boy, and he did with the best of his ability. Sure, he could have trained him, and he wanted to, but if the villagers saw this, they would be outraged, as well as the elders seeing as everyone agreed that Naruto would receive no such training and never be a ninja. And they would surely call for his death, which was something Minato did not want. So in a way, Minato was protecting Naruto, be it in a foolish way concocted from his and his wife's lie. The matter on the lie he told of Naruto holding the soul of the fox when his own daughter truly held the fox inside was to protect both of them. He really didn't think the villagers would just go after Naruto like they tend to. He could always come out and say that it was all not true, that the nine tails was in Katana, but that would put his daughter in danger. Why couldn't villagers just see and believe such a thing that the fox was gone for good? Having the fury of the villagers upon a son of Sparta for something he did not carry, a burden that was not even placed upon him, was so selfish on many levels, and it was incredibly selfish because all he had to do was just tell the truth. However, Katana's safety came to mind. Minato was conflicted. If only you knew Naruto, Minato thought sadly. Minato stood aside as an ANBU walked over, opening Naruto's cell door to letting Naruto step out with the ninja, then removing the cuffs off Naruto, who was rubbing them too, shooting the ninja a glare. There is something that we need to discuss, Naruto. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to any of you. Naruto then walked off and away. Minato was pretty sure Naruto was heading back to the house to go up to his room, locking his door, not wanting to be bothered by anyone. He failed being a father for Naruto, Kushina failing as a mother as well. His thoughts then went to the report that Kiba told being Naruto assaulted him, and Sasuke after Naruto was taken by the ANBU from another incident before. Apparently, Naruto had beaten up 3 villagers who alleged that he assaulted them, but he decided to put that thought and went on to Sasuke's part of the story and what was happening in that alley before the ANBU got Naruto. Sasuke told me they both fought. He said Kiba went looking for the fight. Then there is the sword that Sasuke described as he and Naruto fought, and Sasuke does not deny proceeding with the fight. However, the sword that Sasuke described. It was an hour later Naruto arrives, home, pushing open the front door open in anger and slamming it behind him to marching upstairs without a word to arriving at his room door upstairs. He opens it to walking inside, slamming it shut like he did the front door. He walked for his bed, and when passing by the mirror, he stopped in front of it looking himself in the mirror. He had enough of how he was treated by his so-called family. If they didn't want to give him as much attention as they gave his sister, then why should he call them family? Why should he be their son and his sister's brother? And why should he stay here with them? That is when Naruto made a decision. Downstairs in the living room, Minato appears out of a yellow flash with his wife walking in just in time to see him. Kushina, have you seen Naruto? I don't know, I was out back helping Katana hone her skills. Why, has something happened to him? I removed him from jail again tonight. Again, she said with a sigh following afterwards. I swear that boy is becoming nothing but trouble with all those pranks he pulls around the village, like how he painted the Hokage faces and blamed Katana for it. Who, by the way, was the real one behind said event and blamed her older brother. Not to mention all of the fights he starts with some of the boys from the academy. Perhaps next time we should consider leaving him there in that cell, Minato. Teach him a lesson. He wanted me to leave him, actually. What do you mean? He wanted to stay. He may have not said it, but he didn't have to. The way he looked at me with those cold eyes full of nothing but hatred when I came to release him. He said that I wasn't his father and you not his mother, that he wasn't our son. Minato said, closing his eyes shut, hearing Kushina gasps. There's more. He said that he renounces the name Namikaze. I failed him. I failed Sparta. Minato sat on the nearby couch in misery. If Sparta was here right now, I would surely be dead. We failed as parents. Kushina knew that Minato was right, as most of their attention was on their very own daughter, and barely any was on Naruto, who they were supposed to be caring for as their very own. They know they have done wrong, and it all began all those years ago from their lie to the village. Kushina wanted to make this right, and she was sure that Minato wanted to as well. What do we do? Kushina asked. Little did she know was that their very own daughter was in the kitchen listening in on their conversation. We start acting as the parents we should have been from the very beginning, Minato said with fire in his eyes. I'll start teaching him in chakra control, Kushina said with a smile on her face. I'll teach him the Rasengan, Minato said, getting up with a smile. Are you sure about that? That's a high-level technique, I don't know. I am sure he can do it. I know Naruto has got the fire and the heart, and maybe I will just throw in the shadow clone jutsu as well. Yeah, this will be a great new start. We are going to make this right. I am going to do right by what I promised Sparta. Not just to keep Naruto safe, but to put more care to him. Naruto is our son, and we will be better than this. Let's do it, Kushina replied with a smile. Their attention was grabbed and plans put on hold as both Minato and Kushina heard the slam of a door from upstairs, and it was clearly from Naruto's room. They saw him coming down the stairs with a duffel bag that was packed. Why did he have that? Where are you going this late? Kushina asked. I'm leaving. Naruto said, anger in his voice. What do you mean by that? I mean I am leaving this house, and I am leaving all of you. You aren't thinking about leaving the village. No, Naruto, you can't do that. I won't allow that to happen, Minato said. You think I'm stupid enough to do that? I already know you would have your ANBU lapdogs waiting for me. Naruto walks to the door. I'd rather live on the street than live in the same house with the three of you. Naruto. Minato didn't want him to leave as he reached for Naruto's shoulder, who shrugged his shoulder, pushing his hand away as Naruto turns to the man and pointing a finger, and once again Minato saw the anger in those eyes of his. It was directed upon him and the entire family. You don't touch me. You don't look for me. You stay away from me. All of you, far as I know, none of you are my family. That stung. Naruto turned back around, grabbing the doorknob, and was going to walk out, but then her voice came to his ears, making him freeze. Brother. Naruto looked over his shoulder to Katana Uzumaki, and there was a silence between the two of them as Katana looked like she was on the verge of crying. Katana, I'm not your brother. Naruto then opens the front door, but before he leaves, he then asks, did it ever occur to any of you that today was not just Katana's birthday, but mine as well? He didn't hear a response, as it seems that they just realized. They felt like crap. I thought so. Enjoy the rest of the night. He then leaves, gently pushing the door closed behind him, leaving the household and Namikaze family. Naruto was now walking the streets of the Leaf Village, passing through the crowd of people that was celebrating the day of the defeat of the Nine Tails, as the people who passed by Naruto giving him a hateful glare. He was glad he left that Namikaze family behind and didn't regret a single word he said. He wishes he could just leave the village and leave this place, what he called a personal hellhole, but he was sure ANBU Ninja would block his way. Now that he was out of that house and on the street, where was he supposed to go? Guess he really didn't think this through, huh? He wasn't going to go back to the Namikaze family, he never will. He continued to roam the streets, intending to find somewhere that was quieter and not having some villager that wanted to gut him. Sparks went off above in the sky, and children running around with sparklers with decorations set up on the streets. I wish I was invisible, Naruto thought as he continued to feel the hate directed at him. Naruto then saw something odd ahead of him in the crowd. There looked to be a woman sitting within a restaurant with a group of people by its glass window, and she turned, looking his direction as if sensing him looking at her. This is the part that freaked him out. It was her eyes that suddenly disappeared and then bleed down the cheeks of her face. The people around looked to not even notice. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Was he in some kind of illusion? Dante, the eyeless lady hissed. Naruto almost jumped, as it seemed the scary echoing voice of the lady seemed to echo all around him, coming from all directions, looking around, searching where it came from, even though he knew it was the eyeless lady in the restaurant. He looked back toward the eyeless lady, who then gave him a smile, and showed some of her teeth now looking to be sharpened with blood, leaking out the sides of her smile. Found you. Naruto did the one thing that he thought he would ever do. He ran. He ran as fast as he could, not caring if it displeased villagers. He pushed aside. He just wanted to get away. He was scared. He ran around another street corner, but comes to a stop, seeing a man up ahead in the crowd point at him as his eyes vanish, replacing them with nothingness in them that looked to have been gouged out with blood flowing. Dante, it said, pointing at him. Leave me alone, Naruto yelled. He ran off another direction to running down a street and arriving within the village square. And once again he saw more of them ahead of him, but this time 3 more within the crowd, separate from one another, talking to different groups of people. They all turned their heads toward his direction simultaneously, and said together, "Dao and Tiili. They're everywhere." Then that is when it happened all around him and before his eyes. Everyone around Naruto erupted into ash, blowing away into the wind and replaced into ghost-like apparitions. The ground quakes. The environment around him shifts as parts of the surrounding buildings popped out, and the sky becoming a sort of red color as he saw the clouds move at a fast rate above. Lamp posts bent, parts of the ground began to crack, parts of the ground floated away revealing a black blood flowing like substance in its place. Colors on the buildings became brighter, and around his radius he saw what looked to be black veins. He even saw parts of the ground that were taken away have what looked to be strings of black blood seemed attracted to him as if he were a magnet. What the fuck is this? Where am I? What's going on? He turned around to run away in the opposite direction, but then out of the buildings busted what looked to be black pillars of that black blood blocking his path, preventing his escape. What the hell? Suddenly big letters appeared on the side of the building to his right that said along with a demonic voice, "No escape." Who said that? Naruto yelled and demanded. He looked around the area for the source of the voice, but it sounded like it was coming from everywhere. "All right, calm down, he told himself. He turned back around looking in the direction he ran from and walked slowly back within the leaf square looking upon the ghostly apparitions of the villagers of the leaf. He walked up to one of them to get his or her attention. He couldn't tell the gender because the people that were about really looked like fading in and out shadow figures to his eyes. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked aloud. No reply. "Hello." He looked to another and waved his hand in front of the apparition of the villager. "Can't you people see me?" He turned around seeing one of the ghost apparitions of a villager walking toward his direction and gave out a sigh of relief. About time somebody listened. "Look, I don't care if you have some grudge against, but do you know where I?" The apparition of the villager just walked right through him, shocking him once again, as Naruto turned around looking upon all the ghostly villagers. The apparition just faded right through him like some ghost, or perhaps like he was some sort of ghost. Was he dead or something? What's going on? That's when he saw them rise out of the ground ahead of him. He saw skeletal hands burst out of the ground, spraying black blood from the ground as if it had blood. Another hand emerges with it, and then propping its skeletal hands on the ground, it begins lifting itself out of the ground. What emerged was a skeleton having small remaining amount of skin on its form. It was wearing samurai armor looking like Tosagyusoku armor that was dirty, adorned with cracks along with patches of rust in multiple areas, as the monster's eyes glow red within its empty eye sockets. Naruto didn't know what it was, but it frightened him. This demon is called Akuma no Yona Samurai, or in simple English, demonic samurai. Naruto saw what weapons it had, seeing the demon wielded 3 samurai swords. The demonic samurai reaches for one of its blades with its bones making pop noises from its movements. The demon grasped one of its blades, drawing it from its sheath, and surprisingly Naruto saw that the katana it wielded within its right hand's grasp was not rusted at all, but looked to be well taken care of. The demonic samurai motioned its head up and caught sight of Naruto, and the two just stare. "Hi," Naruto said, a little freaked at the moment seeing a dead corpse standing ahead of him. He didn't know yet that this was not a monster, but a demon he was facing. The demonic samurai made a laughing noise at Naruto, who then saw 2 more demonic samurais rise out of the ground, with one being armed with a chain sickle and the other with a pole having sharp ends. "Oh shit!" Naruto cursed aloud, wondering what he should do. This has to be a dream, a nightmare or something, Naruto thought. The demonic samurai with the chain sickle begun to spin its weapon while the other twirls its staff. What was Naruto supposed to do? How was he supposed to fight those things? Suddenly, Naruto felt the symbol on his back give off that burning sensation as the symbol on his back brightens, and there it appears once again like it did the first time. It was the rebellion. Rebellion. Naruto looked at the handle of the weapon behind his right shoulder. His eyes narrowed. No. He wasn't going to let these things scare him. He wasn't going to let these things kill him, and he wasn't going to not fight. Naruto slowly turned his head, looking back at the demons with his face no longer having any traces of fear. "All right, then." He reached for the hilt of rebellion, grasping it, and pulling it over his right shoulder to twirling the weapon to swishing it down, holding the tip of the blade just above the ground. "You want to fight, then let's go." The demonic samurai give Naruto a growl, charging toward Naruto with Naruto, doing the same meeting the charge while at the same time big letters spelled along the ground, with that demonic voice saying, "Kill Dante! Come on!" Naruto yelled. The katana-wielding demon was the one that met with Naruto first in the charge, swinging its blade, but Naruto slides on his knees under the blade, with the katana barely missing his nose as he went under it, and was now sliding toward the pole-wielding demon. While still sliding upon his knees, Naruto swiped his blade for the pole-wielding demon's legs, only for the demon to stab its weapon into the ground, and uses it flip forward into the air over Naruto. The demon with the chain sickle, seeing the opening of the turned Naruto, quickly spun the sickle over its head, whipping it toward Naruto's direction, but Naruto spun himself up to his feet while turning himself around at the same time, just in time to catch the shaft of the sickle having a tight grip on it. The demon that threw said weapon tilted its head down to the right as Naruto said, "My turn." Naruto pulled on the sickle, pulling on the chained weapon with all his might, and the demon was shooting through the air toward him due to the power behind his pull. And when the demon was close enough to him, Naruto swung down his blade, Rebellion, cutting through the demon. The two halves of the demon, the suddenly part going past both opposite sides of his form, dispersing into fiery ash, the demon dead, having fallen victim to Naruto's blade. Naruto had his eyes closed as the two remaining demonic samurais looked upon him. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, looking upon them, and smiled. Kill. Optional fight theme, Buried Alive by Kombichurst. The two remaining demons obey, charging forward toward Naruto, who had Rebellion in his left hand's grasp, with a sickle in the other with its attached chain. It was the staff-wielding demon that attacked first, jumping up and over the katana-wielding demon, descending down upon Naruto with its weapon overhead. Naruto swung his blade up, colliding with the demon's staff, and the result was the demon being batted away up into the air. Naruto then twirls the sickle in his other hand, just in time to blocking the katana of the second demonic samurai. He and the katana-wielding demonic samurai pushed off one another, landing some distance away from one another, as Naruto then looked to his left, seeing staff-wielding demonic samurai back upon him, once again swing its weapon. This time Naruto ducked under the weapon and spun the chain of the sickle over and around, wrapping the demon up, making it drop its weapon to swinging, and stabbing the sickle into the demon's back with the end of the sickle emerging out of the chest of its armor. Naruto then slashes Rebellion, removing the demon's head from its shoulders, to leaning his weapon atop his right shoulder, now facing the katana-wielding demonic samurai. The headless staff-wielding demonic samurai falls to its knees, erupting into fiery ash, dead, like the first one being Naruto and Rebellion's second demonic victim. "Want to be number 3? Naruto asked the last and remaining demonic samurai. The demonic-wielding katana samurai then, with its other hand, drew its second sword, to tossing one of its blades up to its face, catching the hilt of the blade between its teeth, to drawing the third katana that was within its possession. Naruto motioned his eyes to each blade within the demon's possession. "Okay, now that is just unfair." The now triple katana-wielding demonic samurai rushed Naruto, who was now blocking strikes from the demon as he backed away. Naruto was surprised that he was able to wield Rebellion with such efficiency like he held it before, but he knows he never did. It was strange. Naruto leans back as he avoids the end of the demon's katana from within its mouth's grasp, barely missing his face to the demon, performing a kick to which Naruto blocked with the blunt side of his sword. This demon was faster all of a sudden, and Naruto couldn't do anything but stay on the defensive as his offensive opponent was attacking ruthlessly with its 3 katana blades. The demon swung both of its hand-wielded blades, and Naruto blocked them as the 2 katana swords in an X formation against Naruto's Rebellion. Naruto decided that he had enough of being on the defensive, and that it was his turn, so he overpowers his opponent, pushing the demon back, making it stagger for a second. But a second was all that Naruto needed as he dashed up, swinging Rebellion up to whacking the katana within the demon's mouth away. Naruto then performs a 4 quick slashes, what he now dubbed Hacker. The 4th slash of the Hacker sending the demon off its feet as his blade slashed across its chest into the ground, sliding on its back. But the demon flips itself back up to its feet, with katana sword still in hand. The two charges at one another once again, with Naruto letting Rebellion grind along the ground, leaving sparks behind in its wake. When the two meet in center with the demon jumping toward him and Naruto low below it, he slashed his blade up in a powerful upward strike, launching his enemy up into the air. The demon descended down toward him, and Naruto backed up, rearing back his right arm and yells aloud, "Try this." He then punched the demon, launching it through the air across the ground, crashing into what looked to be a food stand that was unattended to. In the real world of the Leaf Village Square, the food stand that was left unattended to, for a moment, suddenly broke away into pieces, surprising villagers as they back away in fright. Back to wherever Naruto was, the demonic samurai picks itself back up to its feet with its jaw hanging, and its left katana broken, so it throws the weapon aside, motioning up its left hand to its hanging jaw, readjusting and reattaching it in place. Had enough. Naruto taunted. The demon only brought up its sword like any traditional samurai as its response. I'll take that as a no then. Naruto was the one to charge forward as the demonic samurai with its free left hand threw shuriken toward him, but Naruto only batted them away with rebellion as the demon charges toward him. Naruto decided to put more strength behind this strike, and when he and the demon strike at one another at the same time, it was Naruto's attack that overcame the demons, making it stagger back, as once again Naruto took advantage, performing a new multi-combo he just made up that would be useful for damaging surrounding enemies. On the final slash, he clubs the demon away into the air with massive force, as the attack would be called Death Coil. Naruto watched as the demon lands on the ground, impacting it hard, but saw it slowly pick itself back up. You're a strong whatever you are. Naruto looked down to one of the shuriken that the demon used against him and picked it up with his free left hand while sheathing rebellion back on his back with his other. Good night. Naruto threw the shuriken toward the demon that pans it head back up, looking toward Naruto just in time to have a shuriken impale itself into its skull. The skull slowly cracks and falls apart, and the demon dies into a fiery ash. Optional song ends. Who or what is talking? Naruto asked no one in particular. He looked to his left, seeing the way down the street blocked, and then looked to his right, seeing that way blocked as well, just like the path out of the square behind him. The only path that wasn't was the path proceeding forward, where he can see what looked like the Hawkage Tower in the distance. How do I get out of here? He proceeded down his only path, and as he did, Naruto eyed rebellion over his shoulder. Thanks for coming back, by the way. Optional song, Zombie Fistfight by Kumbikreist. Then that's when he stops, feeling the ground under his feet quake a little. He slowly looked over his shoulder and saw the street behind him literally dropping piece by piece. You got to be kidding me. Naruto yelled. He then began to run for his life with the collapsing street behind him, and as he ran, words spelled themselves on the sides of the buildings he was passing by. Die. Death. Destroy. Now the collapsing street behind Naruto was not just happening in this world, but also the real. In the real, what was happening was the street was breaking apart like what one would see in an earthquake. Women and children screamed as well as cried, everyone trying to grab a hold of something to hold onto as the ground violently shakes, buildings appearing to be ready to give way as they shake, and glass windows breaking. Naruto, in the meanwhile, was running from the collapsing street behind him, as well as seeing the ghostly apparitions of the people running in terror in this crazy funhouse alternate version of his village. And he didn't like it here, and that was for sure. This part was not happening in Naruto's world, but he saw up ahead buildings opposite from one another start to move, closing in on one another, and so Naruto increased his speed. He was now running between the two closing buildings, as his corridor between them was getting smaller and smaller, to making one desperate jump, leaping for the exit on the other end. He barely made it out before the two buildings slam in on one another. He took a tumble along the ground, looking back on the closed buildings now pushed together as a wall, but at least the street wasn't collapsing behind him anymore. Optional song ends. Dante. All right, Naruto said in a low tone as he picked himself up, dusting himself off. Who the hell is Dante? He demanded aloud in anger. Answer me. The demonic voice didn't answer him, but instead was silent, leaving Naruto without an answer. How do I get out of this place? He then saw up ahead 5 familiar eyeless freaks that were stalking him before he was even dragged to this place, walking for the Hawkage Tower about to pass into its grounds. These were demons, and they were spotters. You! Naruto called out to. The female of the group turns around giving him a smile and then continues on her original path with her fellow demon compatriots. Hey, get back here. Naruto ran after them, and by the time he reached the grounds, the spotters had already walked into the tower. You freaks dragged me to this place, and you're going to let me out. Naruto finally reached up to the open double doors of the Hawkage Tower, and once he did, the doors behind him suddenly slammed shut, and what appeared to look like a gate formed, closing behind him, ensuring that he was not going to get past these doors. No turning back now. Trapped. That word spelled along the ceiling, while at the same time, the voice said that word pieces of the walls broke away, accompanied by splattering black blood floating in the air within the pieces of the wall. Emerging out of those openings were what looked to be of 4 demonic samurai, but they had no armor whatsoever, but instead wore robes that were hakama, wooden sandals, and all armed with a katana sword. The demons look upon Naruto, showing him the red glow within their empty eye sockets as they draw their swords, as these demons were lesser demonic samurai. Out of the way, Naruto demanded, but his opponents did not heed. Naruto draws rebellion, rushing into battle against the lesser demonic samurai. Dashing toward the leading lesser demonic samurai, he performed a high time, following the demon up into the air. But the remaining 3 surrounded Naruto from below, jumping into the air, now surrounding him in the air with their blades over their heads. Seeing this, Naruto used the demon he brought in the air as a stepping stone, pushing himself into the air, performing a single 360 spin, slashing rebellion around his form, launching those 3 lesser demonic samurai away from him. And what he did to the 4th demon below him, he performed a devastating overhead strike, slamming the demon into the floor, killing it. How does that floor taste? Oh wait, you can't taste because you're dead. Naruto quickly drops to one knee, twirling rebellion above his head, to just in time blocking all 3 of the lesser demonic samurai's blades from above that assaulted him from all sides. Naruto growls, and with all his strength, he throws them up off their feet and away from him. The 3 demons then falling to the floor, and when seeing one of them pick itself up near the wall, Naruto took the opening, rushing toward it, and impaled his blade through the demon's chest into the wall. And this attack Naruto performed being a lunging stab he would call stinger. Naruto then quickly tilts his head to his right, avoiding a blade meant to sever his head, but instead the demon severs the head of its fellow impaled demon compatriot. Naruto pulls his sword out of the headless demon corpse, to quickly spinning down low to slashing through, and cutting off the demonic samurai's legs that just tried to remove his head. Once that legless demon was on the floor, Naruto quickly kicked its weapon away to jumping up and stomping his right foot down upon its skull, making its black blood splattering with Naruto, ending up kicking his foot repeatedly, trying to get it off his sandals. Gross, he said as he was kicking demonic blood off from the bottom of his sandal. He then quickly brought up his blade, blocking a kunai that was thrown at him that was meant for his face. He lowers rebellion, looking upon the one that threw the kunai, being the last remaining lesser demonic samurai. Oh, that's right, you're left. It didn't take Naruto long to deal with this remaining demon as he charged forward as well as the demon, and when they met in center, Naruto ducks under its blade and reaches in, taking one of the demon's kunai to then stabbing it into the back of the demon's skull, killing it. You guys are nothing much, he said as the body of demon falls, at least nothing like that other creature, that is. He looked ahead to the stairs, being the only direction he goes, being up. He had no choice anyway. They must have gone that way was what he assumed, and ran to and up the stairs. But then the weirdest thing happens as the stairs seem to grow in number, stretching up further, and then he comes to a stop as the area seems to shake all around him. The stairs seemed to change in angle as they now made a spiral-like staircase, but the walls around him disappeared, and all around him was nothing but empty space. And looking below from the now spiral staircase he was upon was nothing but an endless drop. One thing was for sure, he didn't want to fall. He looked around again, wondering where the Hawkage Tower went. Looking up into the air to the top of the spiral staircase, he saw an opening, but more like a doorway, which was the top of the stairs leading up to the next floor. He sheathed rebellion upon his back and began making his way, running up the spiral staircase. He then heard that rumbling sound again, and looking over his shoulder with an annoyed look, he sees the stairs behind him falling, looking to be pulled away, but some unknown powerful force. Not again. Naruto, like he did on the streets, runs faster up the spiral staircase, staying ahead of the collapsing stairs. When he neared the end, seeing his salvation in sights to exit out of this crazy collapsing stair situation, the remaining stairs ahead of him fell, and Naruto made a desperate jump up to the doorway as the demonic voice speak aloud. Fall. However, unfortunately for the voice, Naruto makes it as his form shoots through the doorway, and he lands on the floor of the inside of the Hawkage Tower, as the doorway he jumped through is then blocked by a black rock erupting from the floor, closing it off to him. Wow, what floor am I on? He jogged to the nearest window, looking out, seeing nothing but empty space. Where did the village go? He then looked down and saw nothing. It looked as if the Hawkage Tower were floating in this empty space. He then noticed that it looked that he was just below the roof. That doesn't make sense. He should be on the second floor, shouldn't he? No escape. Oh, I will escape, you just watch me. He saw the staircase that lead up to the roof of the building. He ran up them as these stairs were alongside outside of the building and to the rooftop, and there those 5 spotters were. Hey! He grabbed their attention as they turned around facing him. Who the hell are you people? Where have you brought me? Let me out. The female spotter in center with 2 male spotters on her left and right smiles as the 4 spotters around her then begin to change shape and turn into demonic samurai like the first 3 he fought before when he was dragged down here, but now he had to fight 4. The female spotter had yet to show her true form as she brought the top of her right hand and placed it under her chin, intending to watch with a smile. Bitch! Naruto called the female spotter as he draws rebellion once again. 3 of the demonic samurai had the same weapons as the ones before, being a staff, katana, and chain sickle. The 4th demon looked to be wielding a bow and arrows, but the bow had a demonic look to it. It was the bow and arrow-wielding demon that attacks first as it takes aim and fires an arrow toward Naruto's direction, whom with rebellion repels it back toward its source, but the arrow was spinning, and it impales into the skull of the demon, falling back dead. Well, that's 1 demonic samurai down and 3 to go. He didn't last long. Naruto taunted the demons. The female spotter pointed at Naruto, commanding the remaining 3 demonic samurais. Kill. I don't have time for this, Naruto said in an irritated tone. The 3 demonic samurais charge him, and Naruto goes into position for a drive attack. His rebellion within his right hand's grasp in the reverse grip seemed to glow red as it charged, and upon its first level of charge, black electricity seemed to spark around the red glowing blade. Try this. He made a horizontal energy slash of demonic energy in a red color fly toward and collide into the 3 charging demons, blowing them to pieces, killing them instantly. Naruto took in slow, steady breaths from using that attack he would dub as drive. He then stood tall, pointing his sword to the last remaining spotter. Now it's your turn. The female spotter then changed shape and form, taking up the appearance of what reminded one, if they have seen one of the samurai of Iron Country, donning that silver armor, having red glowing eyes. Upon its armor, it had engravings of some sort that added a demonic feel to the armor. The name of the demon was Elite Demonic Samurai, as it drew its 2 demonic katana swords from its back that was crossed over one another in an X formation. Looking upon its face, it too had a skull, and its teeth were sharp and long, and it also looked to be drooling. Maybe it had a hunger for blood and battle. Let's dance. Naruto charged toward the elite demonic samurai, as the demon charges toward Naruto with its blades out to its sides, roaring at Naruto. When the 2 met in center, Naruto was bringing his blade up and over his head, intending to strike, as the demon was swinging both its blades forward to remove Naruto's head from his shoulders. Naruto's blade strikes first, as the elite demonic samurai's twin blades catches Naruto's rebellion in between, and the 2 face-to-face with one another up close, with Naruto giving the monster a glare. What the hell are you things? The 2 push away from one another, landing some distance apart, with Naruto sliding back along his feet, with his left hand's fingertips on the ground, assisting him in his stop. He looks forward to the demon, standing tall, popping his neck, as the demon seemed to copy his action, popping its neck as well. Gut him. The demonic voice commanded, as it spelt command appeared on the floor of the roof, and then seemed to dissolve away. The battle between Naruto and the elite demonic samurai began, as the 2 run toward one another and clash blades, meeting in center, circling one another as they did so. the sound of clashing steel echoing into the demonic atmosphere, the blades of rebellion and the demon's swords clashing together, making it look like a spectacle to witness, looked like a deadly dance. This demon was stronger than the others that Naruto faced as it kicks Naruto in the chest, sending him sliding back along the floor on his back. At the same time he was skidding back along the roof, the demon was following after him, grinding its two blades along the ground right behind Naruto, who made a quick evasion, rolling to his right, avoiding the blades that go right past him. That was a close one. He cartwheeled back up to his feet, and there the demon was already descending down upon him from above to attack with its two blades. Naruto quickly brings up his sword, catching the demon and throwing him over his shoulder through the air. He was surprised that with his size compared to this creature's, that he was able to even throwing it over his shoulder. The demon lands atop the railing that surrounded the roof on its back, and looking up this time, it was Naruto descending down toward him, performing Helmbreaker. The demon evades by rolling aside along the railing, as Naruto's sword cuts down through the metal, who was giving the demon a glare, seeing as he missed. Naruto takes advantage as the demon recovers, bringing itself back up from the railing. And so Naruto quickly leaps atop the railing to flipping himself up and over the demon while twisting himself in the air, and slashing his blade down upon the demon at the same time, landing behind the demon. Naruto landed on one knee, holding Rebellion out to his right, and the demon, having turned around facing Naruto, was still, and then its head falls off from its shoulders. Naruto slowly brings himself up as the demon's body falls to its knees, to its whole body, finally falling forward onto the floor. The demon was dead, and Naruto sheathing Rebellion on his back once again as the victor. N-O-O-O-O-O-O. Naruto then witnesses everything around him fade, and he soon found himself back within the world he knows and belongs to, the real world, standing atop the Hokage Tower's roof, and the Hokage faces mountain behind him. He then turned and walked slowly toward the railing around the roof where he would see the whole village, and when he did, he saw what looked to be what he can describe as chaos. The streets below from the square to the Hokage Tower had cracks, and some parts of the street uneven risen out of the ground. There was even a building that looked to be slightly tilted over, while some other looked uneven from the violent shake, glass on the ground. The crying of children can be heard, medics attending to the wounded, and ninjas trying to figure out what just happened. This festival tonight was ruined, and he had a strong feeling what was going to happen next. He was sure the people were going to blame him, accusing him of being the cause. What just happened? Naruto asked himself as he reached up, grasping his red stone amulet. Then Rebellion on his back vanishes in a red flash, and Naruto not seeming to care, as he was sure he would be able to call it back somehow. As he wondered that name, that the demonic voice in that world he was dragged in called him. Dante. Dante. Who is this Dante, and was that voice referring to me? Naruto. Naruto turned around facing the one that called upon him, and it was the fourth Hokage, Minato, along with Kakashi. Are you okay? He asked, and it surprised Naruto that the man actually sounded concerned for his well-being. I'm fine. Naruto replied, looking back over and upon the village. Minato and Kakashi joined, looking upon the village, wanting to see the damage from a higher view. What on earth happened here? Kakashi asked. I don't know. Minato replied. What the hell happened? Naruto wondered, as his red amulet slightly glows its red color before fading. Naruto made his way, walking for the stairs that would lead back into the tower from the roof, and as he did, Minato and Kakashi were heading for the same direction, intending to return back into the tower. As Minato walked past him, he brought up a hand and placed it atop Naruto's shoulder for a second, making Naruto stop in his tracks. He watched as the man walked ahead of him, as that touch made him angry. Was Minato concerned about his well-being? How dare he? Naruto turned, looking up to his left to Kakashi, who was holding up. Hold on was that his duffel bag that he walked out of the Namikaze household with. How did it get in Kakashi's hands? I picked this up on the street as I was heading toward the tower, and I saw your name on it and decided to return it to you. Thanks, Naruto said as he took the bag. I guess I dropped it. I also took a peek inside, so I hope you forgive me for that. Kakashi said, only to get narrowing eyes from Naruto, but I couldn't help but notice that you had mostly cloths packed. Are you taking a trip? It's none of your business, Naruto said as ringed the bag over his right shoulder and walked away. You're not planning on leaving the village, are you, Naruto? Kakashi asked, making the boy stop in his tracks and turn back, looking at the man. Why not? Why shouldn't I? You don't know how desperately I want to leave this hellhole. Everybody stares at me, gives me cold glares. Katana treated as the hero and a goddess amongst all while everyone decides to take their rage out on me. Naruto calmed. Even if I tried leaving the village, Minato wouldn't allow it. His ANBU would be blocking my path. He's your father, of course. He isn't going to allow it. That man is not my father. Naruto yelled in anger, making Kakashi slightly jump from this burst of anger. He never was my father, and Kushina is not my mother. Naruto, Kakashi was worried for the boy, wondering what happened throughout his life to make him think like this. Don't talk to me, just leave me alone, Naruto said and left. As you wish, Kakashi said as he watched the angry individual walk away. Naruto, minutes later, barely walk out of the entrance of the Hokage Tower and now walking across the grounds to arriving on the destroyed street, which would take some time to be repaired. He looked upon the people that were recovering from the unknown attack, but he was sure that it wouldn't be long before they started blaming him for this. Naruto turned, walking down a different direction away from the scene, but like he said, it wasn't long as he took notice of one individual sight him, glare, and start to tell other around him of his presence. He ignored them and continued walking away, and minutes later he came to stopping in the center of a four-way road somewhere in the village. Why did he stop? Well, because from all directions there were villagers closing in on him, shouting at him while waving with whatever blunt object they could get their hands on. It's the demon. He's the one responsible for all this. He tried to kill us all. Let's kill it. He ruined this night for his own amusement. It must die. See, knew this was coming. Naruto thought as he made a sigh of annoyance. All right, look. Naruto said aloud, I am warning only once and not twice, for you all disperse and walk away before you all end up black and blue from my fists. It was you who caused this entire incident, demon. A woman of at least 40 years of age accused pointing a knife at him. First you take the lives of the ninja that sacrificed their lives on this very night, but now you try again. Listen, you old hag, I don't know where you have your head, but most likely it's up your ass. He said with a smile, making the woman scowl at him, but I'm not the Nine Tails, and plus I was at the tower. Excuses, just what anyone can expect from a demon. The woman said aloud, and I'll have you know that I am only 40 and men still find me attractive. You don't look a day over 50. Naruto taunted with a smile, showing his teeth. Fuck you. You wish. Naruto replied with a smile. A villager tried to take advantage of Naruto's turn back, and so Naruto takes a step to his right as the villager missed stabbing him with a knife, and so Naruto knees the man in the gut, making the villager lose grip of his knife. More villagers gained on him, yelling in rage. Bring it on. Naruto said aloud, dropping his bag aside and readying his stance. Now I am sure you were expecting to read on how Naruto took his attackers down with his fists, beating them black and blue, but that was not the case, as suddenly appearing before Naruto from a body flicker was the infamous Kakashi Hadake, the copy ninja. His appearance caused the villagers to stop in their attack as he gave them his most intimidating one-eyed stare filled with intent to kill. What are you doing here? Naruto asked. Can't you see that I was about to have fun? Disperse now, Kakashi demanded the infuriated villagers. What? An angry villager asked, confused. You are to disperse now or I will take lethal action against you. He was the cause behind all of this. He was nowhere near the scene of this mysterious attack tonight, Kakashi said aloud. Well, that is not exactly true. Naruto was running away from it, but in another world that seemed to do everything it can to kill him, but he didn't cause the attack, it was that evil world. Now I warn you again. ANBU Black Op ninjas, ones that didn't hate Naruto, appeared by Kakashi's side, surrounding Naruto in a complete circle, intending to protect him from this oncoming attack. Disperse now. How can you defend that, killer? The people were calling their bluff and proceeded forward anyway because they didn't think that the ninjas would attack, but seeing the ANBU drawing their swords from their backs made them think otherwise as they back away, yelling in outrage. The monster has possessed their minds. A villager yelled. That same villager threw a bottle toward Naruto's direction, but Kakashi caught the bottle to bringing up his knee and breaking the bottle atop it. The glass bottle broken in half before he threw it right back at its owner. The broken bottle stabs into the villager's shoulder, the one that threw the bottle, causing him to fall back on the ground in pain and angry villagers backing away in shock. I warned you so, now ask yourselves if you think we are bluffing. as Naruto looked into the crowd of angry villagers that surrounded the area beginning to back off. He took notice of one of the people in the crowd, and this person wasn't yelling out hateful words to Naruto, but his eyes did vanish, now replaced with black empty eye sockets like a spotter. However, it didn't try dragging him down into that world. The thing is, the demons, spotters being demons themselves, weren't aware that Naruto could see upon them what Naruto was seeing being their empty eye sockets, revealing them to be demons. Now that Naruto looked around in the crowd, he started noticing more of them that were within the crowd, with some yelling like the villagers' hateful words at him. Demons were impersonating as humans, as their true forms are invisible to the real world, and Naruto could see them, but they didn't think that he could just spot them out like this. It was both amazing and scary, a gift and a curse. Nevertheless, the villagers backed off, and another scuffle on the streets was avoided thanks to Kakashi's arrival and the few ANBU that didn't mistreat Naruto, as the ANBU left going off to attend to their duties with Kakashi staying behind. "Why did you do that?" Naruto asked. "What do you mean, why?" "Defend me the way you did." "Why not? I care about your well-being, Naruto. Why would you think otherwise?" Kakashi noticed the confusion on Naruto's face as he didn't say a word, as Naruto was just staring back at him. "Not everyone hates you, Naruto. Did you assume I hated you?" This was sort of a small shock to Naruto, because he really did assume that everyone in the village hated him. "Naruto, I don't hate you. Not me, not Uruka, not I am at your favorite ramen bar." By the way, the ramen bar was the only place that would let him eat, seeing as mostly every other restaurant didn't allow him to eat. But even if they did, they would double his price range to take advantage. "Shouldn't you be somewhere like Katana's party?" "Well, circumstances presenting on what happened this night, Katana's birthday party will have to be rescheduled for some other time. After what just happened, Minato-sensei is going to be really busy." "So her party is essentially ruined?" Naruto asked. "Well, not really, but tonight I guess it was." Naruto turned away and he smiled. Yes, it was cruel to do, but hey, she would blame him for the actions that she committed, so he did not feel bad about smiling, as her party was ruined this night. "Thanks for the assistance," Naruto said and began walking away. "Are you going to attend her party?" "Hell no," Naruto said over his shoulder. "She wants you to come." Naruto stopped in his tracks, turned back, looking at Kakashi. "She wants him to come." If he knows that she wants him to come, then either he is aware of what has taken place, or Katana requested Kakashi to remind Naruto if he ever crossed paths with him. Nevertheless, there was a reason Naruto would not attend. What kinds of people are usually invited to parties? Well, that would be friends. And family. Exactly. Naruto turned around and began walking along his merry way without a word and with a scowl on his face. He needed to get away. "Naruto," Kakashi called after. Not another word. Naruto said aloud, leaving Kakashi's sight, walking around the next street corner. Kakashi sighs at what Naruto was going through. "Something tells me that if he was allowed to become a ninja, he would be a great one. It's too bad the village can't see past their hate and fear to allow it. Then again, something tells me that his destiny could maybe not as a ninja, but something more." Back with Naruto, he had reached a quieter part of the village, or rather the poorest part of the village. The housing has seen better days, and the village was working on trying to fix this part of the village to help its inhabitants, but the problem is raising the amount of money required. Bright side for Naruto, there was however many abandoned households, and Naruto can use one of them to stay in. Upon walking up to one of the houses that looked ready to topple over by the breeze of the wind, but wasn't really going to do that at this moment, Naruto looks over his shoulder, making sure that no one sees him. He reaches for the doorknob, and with the slightest brush of his fingertips upon the knob, the door suddenly fell back, hitting the floor. "Knock, knock," he said to no one in particular as he walked inside. He didn't even bother picking up the fallen door and put it back in place. He was looking around the room, seeing the left-behind pieces of furniture that was way past their prime, the webs in the upper corners of the room, and hearing the creaking floor with every step he took. He wasn't going to stay down here, and so he headed for the stairs. He brought one foot up to placing it down upon the stair, with the result being an obvious small creak. When he used that foot and leg to bring his other foot upon the next stair, the creak was louder, but nevertheless he went upstairs, and he could use this to help him as a security measure. If there was an intruder coming up the stairs that perhaps knew where he was and was trying to do no good, he would hear them and book it. He made it to the top, having gone up its 12 steps, surprised that he had not fallen through them, thinking that they could have gave way at some point. There were 5 room doors, and he looked inside each one of them, but decided to choose the only one with the window, and looking out that window there was an alley which was also useful. He could use this as an escape just in case if some nut found him somehow and tried to kill him, but of course he wouldn't leave without dishing out some hurt upon said intruder himself. He laid his bag on the floor, unzipping it, and pulled out a folded-up blue cot, laying it on the floor, spreading out properly to accommodate him. He walked to the door, and even though the locks on these doors were old, they still worked, although it wouldn't be hard for the intruder to just pull the knob off. He walked back to his cot and lies down while giving out a breath of relief, as a lot has happened today. His fight with Kiba and Sasuke, obtaining rebellion, him getting thrown behind bars again, argument with and finally leaving the Namikazes, being dragged into some demonic parody of the world around him to killing monsters and escaping that world that tried to kill him, and finally Kakashi preventing a scuffle between Naruto and the villagers. Yeah, it has been a long night, so hopefully tomorrow will be better than this. Then again, when has the next day for Naruto ever been better for him? Upon this same night, Minato was in his office at the Hawkage Tower, trying to get to the solution of what the hell just happened tonight. But then again, his thoughts also went to the description of the sword that Sasuke described. It sounded so familiar that he pulled one of his books from the shelves in his office. The book was old, but also well taken care of, and in this book listed a many number of swords, including ones that were considered mythological, but those kind being also powerful. A book that the kind of weapons they created or seen within the village's history, or about the world. He turned the pages until coming near the center and saw a drawing of a sword, and the sword matched Sasuke's description, who claimed to have clashed blades with Naruto. He saw the name of the sword written, and it said, "The Rebellion," Minato said in a low tone. Back behind his desk, he memorized the look of the blade that the drawing made out. The blade may not look much like some of the swords wielded by the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, but the blade said power. Then he saw a familiar-looking symbol that he remembered seeing upon Naruto's back. The symbol behind the rebellion in the drawing was a match, making Minato's eyes widen. Did Sasuke just describe one of the blades that were sought out by many throughout history, but never found? Many lives wasted searching for it and eventually given up. He looked to the next sword to the right on the next page and saw a katana with a same look-alike symbol that he saw on Naruto's back, but it had a dark and evil look unlike rebellion. The Yamato. The katana blade said to be able to cut through anything and even cut dimensions according to legend. If Naruto had this sword being the rebellion, then where was the Yamato? When Sparta left the newborn Naruto to his hands long ago to take care of, he didn't remember Sparta mentioning that he had any swords. He never knew Sparta was a swordsman, as he met the demon somewhere before the Third Great Ninja War, and kept their confrontation and friendship a secret from all. Is it possible that Sparta armed Naruto? He had a strong feeling Sparta did, meaning all this time throughout history, Sparta was in possession of rebellion that is now in Naruto's possession. And if Naruto had rebellion, then is it possible that Sparta had the Yamato? If so, that leave a lingering question of the Yamato. Who possesses the Yamato? It was amazing to him. 2 of the world's most powerful and mythological swords truly do exist, and Naruto wielded one of them while the other was with someone else. Minato then had a thought, an idea to a possibility. What if Naruto wasn't Sparta's only son? What if? Did Sparta have another son? Another thing is that if anyone, being swordsman, knew if Naruto had rebellion, then the boy would have swordsmen all over him. If the elders knew this, he was sure that they would demand the sword over so as to arm it to someone else. If a situation like that ever arise, then the least he can do for Naruto is defend him. Yes, he would do that. However, what of the danger that may come for Naruto when word spreads of his possession of said blade? Damn it, he didn't care. He was going to protect the boy as he promised Sparta. The 4th heard a knock upon his door, taking him away from his thoughts, giving the command to enter as he closed the book he was reading, putting it away in his desk drawer. Entering was his once student, Kakashi Hatake. Kakashi. Greetings, Sensei. How goes the investigation as to what happened tonight? Well, it's not surprising that the people pointed the finger at Naruto, of course. In fact, I just stopped a mob from being sent to the hospital. Naruto left heading off into the east side of the village, by the way. The east of the village, that's the poor district I aim to improve, and I can see why he went there. Sensei. Naruto has left the family, Minato revealed. Left the family. He renounced the surname Namikaze. We got into an argument and he said a great many things that were true. He no longer wishes to reside with us. In the poor district, there are a many great number of households abandoned so he can easily walk in and stay in one of them. So long as he doesn't get caught, that is. Isn't that illegal? Naruto never cared much for law or authority. He's rebellious, angry, and he's vengeful. Why would he be this way? Kakashi didn't really visit the Namikaze household, often seeing as he was a ninja always out on a mission. Kakashi was a busy man. It's because of us. Minato got up from his chair, walking to the window, and looking down upon the village under this late night. Clear regret reflected in his eyes from what Kakashi can tell from his sensei's reflection in the window. Why he think that? Kakashi, I ask that what I am about to tell you stays between us. This is high-level information. Not even the elders know of this. Of course I will. What is this about? You know the sealing of the fox, yes? Everyone does. The Lord Third gave his life sealing the fox, but separated the demon's chakra and soul. The chakra of the fox was sealed within your daughter and the soul within Naruto. You told everyone. It's a lie. Kakashi took a long pause before asking, what? The fox is sealed, yes. However, there is no trace of it is in Naruto, so in other words, I lied to everyone. You lied? Kakashi didn't yell but said as if in surprise. The fox, chakra, and soul are both still connected and whole. The 9 tails is within Katana only. Naruto isn't a Jinchuriki then. Kakashi was wondering why he would lie and then realized you knew the people would do to Katana. You knew they would treat her the way they treat Naruto now. You made him the scapegoat. Minato lowered his head. Sensei, what were you thinking? How can you put a burden he doesn't have upon himself on your very own son? I did it to protect Katana, our daughter. What about your son? Kakashi said now with his tone sounding angry. He's not really my son. What did you say? He is not really my blood. Not your blood, he has your hair color. He inherited that from his real mother's side. Naruto was adopted. From who? On the night Katana was born 14 years ago, the night the 9 tails mysteriously appeared attacking the village, a man and friend called Sparta approached me with his newborn child. Minato turned to now looking at Kakashi. His name was Dante. Dante? Kakashi said, repeating Naruto's true name. Sparta and his family were attacked. His wife Eva gave Sparta the chance to escape with Dante giving her life. Sparta came to us and asked me to care and keep Dante safe. In doing so, we gave him a new name and we named him Naruto. So you took Naruto in to protect him from this Sparta's enemies, who killed the family then. He was in a hurry that night. After he gave us Naruto, we swore to keep him safe and then he vanished. I never heard from him again since then. Then again, something told me that night when he left like that, he wasn't coming back. So he's dead then. I would have to assume, seeing as he's never come back for Naruto. Even so, that still doesn't give you the right to put all of this hate on an innocent newborn that came about in the world. Not to mention you lied to everyone as well as yourself, broke your promise, and lied to Naruto himself. How do you think Katana would act if she knew this? It's no wonder he hates you. I looked deep within his eyes and saw within them a child that has been mistreated and neglected most of his life. I didn't want to see it or believe it, but hearing this proves it true. Kakashi took in a breath. Naruto wanted to become a ninja of our village. That was his dream at first, but it was taken away by the hate and fear of the village, even as going as far as to forbidding him from learning any exercises in chakra, and you allowed it. I had no choice. I wanted Naruto to become a ninja. When I saw the petition of the thousands of signatures from the people of the Leaf, I knew why they did it. I knew it was out of fear and hate. I couldn't do anything about it because of vote with the elders. I had no choice but to deny Naruto a dream. I was happy, of course, when Katana went to the academy to become our village's future ninja, but also I was heartbroken when I didn't see Naruto walking by her side. When Ayakashina concocted this massive lie that night, we felt like trash from the after results of it all. We didn't think that the village would think that even with this lie of separation of soul and chakra, they would only see Naruto as a monster. Our lie got out of hand, and the only reason why we haven't said anything is because they would come after our daughter. Minato dropped back in his chair, leaning back in it. It wasn't supposed to be like this. If you think that I have no sympathy for Naruto, then you're wrong. I feel like trash, especially since we used someone else's child. I used my friend's own son and unintentionally made him the black sheep of the village. God Sparta would kill me right now if he were here. When were you planning on telling Naruto the truth, or were you planning to at all? As a matter of fact, Kakashi, I was going to tell Naruto, but I would when I felt when he was ready. And now? Kakashi didn't receive a reply, and all he got was silence. He seems ready now more than ever. He has a right to know. He is not ready. Kakashi turned his back and walked for the door to leave his lord's office, but before he leave, Minato had to make something clear. Kakashi. I know, Sensei, not a word. He looked back at his Hokage and once, Sensei, tell me something. What is it? You say that Naruto isn't ready, but maybe. It's you who isn't ready. With that said, Kakashi left his office, leaving Minato to himself. He lightly closed the door behind him on his way out. Kakashi was right, as he and Kushina have been selfish. Kakashi was also right about another thing. Naruto was ready to learn the truth. Was Minato ready to tell Naruto the truth? Was Naruto ready for the truth? Would he ever learn of his true origins? The next day, Naruto's eye fluttered as the sunlight shining through the window hit his face, his eye opening, and sits himself up to stretching his arms, giving out a yawn. He then hears something cracking, meaning something was about to fall, as his eyes were looking around, until he realized what was about to fall, or more like who was about to fall. Oh boy. The floor under him gives way with him falling down to the first floor on his butt, along with his cot below him. He just sat there as two pieces of wood bonked atop his head, and he was about to get up until his duffel bag lands atop his head with his head now inside the bag, so one thing was sure. Looks like I'm moving. Naruto was walking amongst the streets of the poor district of the village. Here weren't that much of haters here to spite or curse at Naruto. He liked it that way. His thoughts couldn't help but go to what happened last night, being dragged into that world, leaving him fighting those monsters. His thoughts were on those monsters, wondering if they were even monsters or something worse. He knows how almost every villager call him monster, killer, mass murderer, and such, but there was one word that most called him, and that was a demon. If there were things that he would call demon, it would have been those things last night. His thoughts were interrupted as he heard what sounded like the jiggle of a can, making him stop in his tracks. Looking to his right to the source, he took notice of a homeless little girl who was probably 10 years of age, sitting on the side of the street. The homeless little girl was wearing a dirty cloak that one would find in the trash and a hood over her head. She held out a cup to him, and in the cup was only little amount of change. Poor kid, Naruto thought as he looked upon the homeless little girl. Spare some change, the little girl asked. Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out whatever money he had, only 3 coins, as he walked over to her and drops the change into her cup. There you go, that's all I got. Thank you. The little girl under the hood made a big smile as she then looked up, revealing her face, but she had no eyes. Dante. Not a kid. Naruto was tricked. It quickly happens the same way it did before. He was dragged down into the demonic alternate version of the village, with the small amount of people bursting into ash being replaced by ghostly apparitions of themselves and the little girl, which was really a spotter that dragged him in here, now gone. Oh, come on. The buildings around him shift, with some becoming more taller than others. The clouds in the sky speed up. Power cords began to wiggle quickly, the colors becoming brighter, the quake causing cracks to make themselves known in the street. And since it was in the middle of the day in the real world, the sky was not red like it was last night when he was dragged here into this hell. GOTU. Bite me. Making its presence known once again, appearing on Naruto's back, was rebellion, and he was glad seeing it again. I was just thinking about you. Naruto rings his duffel bag across his body, with the bag now hanging behind his waist, as the bag was under the sword. Before him in the street lesser demonic samurai of a total of 5 emerged from the ground, all drawing their swords wanting to cut him down. At first I only thought you guys to be monsters, but you're worse than that, are you? You're not monsters, you're demons. Naruto drew his blade from his back and charged the demons before they can even rush him. Naruto moved at increased speed, and before the first demon up front could even bring up its blade to guard, it was cut in half by Naruto's rebellion. The 4 remaining demons try to take advantage of Naruto's opening, but Naruto, seeing this coming, performed his death coil combo, damaging surrounding enemies, and during the combo he asked them aloud in a taunting manner, "Are you feeling it?" On the last swing of the combo, where he clubs one of demons up into, and through the air with massive force, he once again taunts aloud, "Tell me how the weather is up there." He quickly ducked under the katana of one of the demons that recovered from his attack, to sliding under its legs to maneuvering himself back to his feet while facing the demon's back. He quickly got into the position of performing a drive, the attack charging in his blade, but this time he tried pushing more into his attack, channeling energy into the blade that was not chakra. Come on," he said as the blade charges. The blade making a sound saying it was charged to its first level, but seeing as Naruto pushed more, unbeknownst to him, demonic energy into it, he heard it give off another sound signaling a second level of the charge. He then performed one slash while yelling aloud, "Fly!" The first red slash firing toward the back of the demon, taking it, as well as managing to bring up the other 2 demons with it having been hit by the attack. Naruto, then seeing them in the air, then throws 2 more slashes up toward them while yelling once again, "1, 2. The 2 demonic charged slashes slashing through the 3 demons in the air, and they blew into pieces to becoming burning ash. The attacker performed he would call overdrive. This attack is performed like Dante's in Devil May Cry 4. He then brought his blade down no longer in its reverse grip, and looked to the last remaining lesser demonic samurai. He clubbed through the air, finally get back up to its feet, with its right arm was missing along with its sword. The lesser demonic samurai looked down to its right, seeing its arm on the ground with its blade in its hand's grip. It picked it up with its left hand, and brought its right arm up to its right shoulder joint. What Naruto witnessed next was seeing black-like tentacles attached to the arm, rejoining it back to its right shoulder before the lesser demonic samurai then gives Naruto a low roar, who responds asking a question. "So how was the weather?" The demon responds roaring at him in rage and charges Naruto, "That bad." Naruto then decided to do a little experiment with the stinger attack. He channeled that unknown demonic energy into his sword, twirls his blade, and stabs his blade into the air in front of him. And the demonic energy charged into the sword assists him, as the blade launches itself with Naruto holding on, performing stinger on the demon while covering more ground. It was like as if he was dragged, and the rebellion with the charged demonic energy inside acting like a rocket pulling him along for the ride. The lesser demonic samurai was impaled through the chest, making it split in 2 as the halves go flying separately to becoming fiery ash. That, Naruto swishes his blade to his left, he twirls rebellion above his head, sweet, and then sheathes rebellion back on his back. He couldn't help but clap his hands together, happy that he figured out a new way to perform the stinger besides just running up to his enemy and impaling his sword into them. "You won't escape." The words appearing on the sides of some buildings, but Naruto ignored it, not in the least intimidated. He then gets back to the main situation at hand, and that was getting out of here as he looked about. "Okay, back here again. Now how I seem to have gotten out of this funhouse last night. I was brought back to the real world after I killed those 5 demons." Come to think of it, when those 5 spotters sighted him, it was after that moment he was pulled down here, and after he killed them, he was able to get out. Basically, I was sucked in by those demons, and after I killed them, I was released. That little girl, she brought me in here. Okay, so that's it. Find the little girl, I mean demon, kill it, and I'm out of here. Question is, where did she go? Wonder what she really looks like. Naruto ran off to begin his search, and if any demon got in his way, he will cut them down. Within the real world, in the Leaf Village in the park, were a group of students of the academy who had 1 year left until they took their graduation exam to become genin ninja. The 9 of them were on their lunch break as Sasuke, Sakura, and Katana sat on one of the benches. Kiba, Hinata, and Shino were sitting on the one next to them, and Ino was on the same bench as Sasuke wanted to stay as close to Sasuke as much as possible. Choji was sitting on the grass with Shikamaru, who was laying back and watching the clouds go by above as Choji was eating a bag of potato chips. "So, Sasuke," Ino said, getting his attention as he was brought away from taking another bite of his apple. "What?" he responded, already annoyed. "I heard tale that you and Kiba got in a fight with Naruto. I heard he assaulted you guys, but I am sure you took care of him." "Yeah, the guy came up to us looking for a fight, but I managed to introduce him to my fists." Kiba lied as he pats his dog Akamaru, who was lying curled up beside him. "Last I remembered, Kiba, he flattened you," Sasuke said as he took a bite of his apple, calling Kiba out, who was surprised that he did and now felt embarrassed. "You got beaten up by Naruto?" Katana asked Kiba. "I. One punch was all it took," Sasuke revealed, with Ino laughing at Kiba as Sasuke looked to Katana to his left. "I thought you said he didn't receive any training from your parents." "No, I'm sure he didn't. My parents were training me." "Ha ha 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 ha." Ino laughs at Kiba, who was growling at her. "You got beaten by a weakling. You were beaten by Naruto." "He isn't weak," Sasuke said, silencing Ino, who was confused at his statement. "Sasuke, what do you mean? Everyone knows that you are the strongest one here." "When we battled, said otherwise," Sasuke responded as he took another bite of his apple. "Are you saying Naruto is stronger than you?" Sakura asked. "I'm not saying that," Sasuke said in a harsh tone. "I'm saying that he isn't weak. He's stronger than Kiba and even you too," Sasuke said, referring to Ino and Sakura as the two. "Oh, come on, someone like Naruto." Ino responds and then looked to Katana. Katana. "Yes." Her thoughts pulled away from Naruto. "Are you sure that he wasn't receiving training from your mom and dad?" "Yes, I'm sure. I would have noticed." "Then how was he able to fight like that?" Kiba asked, remembering how he was flattened. "Don't you know what this means?" Ino said, grabbing their attention. "If he was able to fight like you say he was, and is getting training from someone, he is breaking the rules. He knows he isn't supposed to receive training. Or maybe he trained himself." Ino. Shikamaru in the back said, grabbing her attention as she looked over her shoulder, giving Shikamaru a small glare. "They say that Naruto was forbidden to receiving training of any kind from any ninja and not to become part of the ninja program. It doesn't say that he is forbidden to self-teaching himself." "He's right, Ino," Hinata agreed. "I never understood why so many of the villagers hate Naruto so much." Choji said aloud, "Okay, sure, he holds the soul of the fox prisoner while Katana holds the chakra, but why would they hate him so much as to attack him and stuff?" "It's fear, of course," Shino said, grabbing everyone's attention. "Most of the villagers see Naruto as the fox itself, but they are blinded by their fear and hate to see Naruto for who he really is. Not as a demon, but as a man, as Naruto." "Well, you guys don't listen," Ino said aloud, regaining the attention. "There are many other reasons why the village hates him, and not just because of that. He is troublemaker, and not to mention he doesn't care one bit about the rules around here, and he even starts fights for no reason. I heard he has been thrown into police station jail cells more than a dozen times. So as far as I know, he's nothing but criminal." "That so-called criminal saved Hinata's life," Shikamaru pointed out. "Or did that slip your mind?" "He is no criminal, he's just misunderstood," Hinata said. "He saved me from being kidnapped by Hidden Cloud. I will never forget that." "Does a criminal do that, Ino?" Shikamaru asked the Yamanaka. "Shut it, Shikamaru. I heard he was the one behind the attack last night. However, I don't think it's true at all." Sakura said. "Who told you that?" Shikamaru asked. "My mother told me." "Well, go figure," Shikamaru said under his breath. "That's not possible. It couldn't have been him, and Naruto would never. My dad said he was atop the Hawkage Tower last night, so he was nowhere near the time and place of the attack." Katana revealed. "You hear that, Ino? That testimony from the fourth himself saying that Naruto was nowhere near the scene." Shikamaru said with a smile, getting to Ino. "So if he didn't attack us, then who did?" Ino asked. "Most likely one of our village's many enemies. Maybe it was Rock, as they do use jutsu that make the earth tremble." "I don't think so. Rock would not go that far. They are still scared of my father after his performance during the Third Great Ninja War, so I don't think they would risk his wrath." Katana replied. "What about Hidden Mist?" Choji asked aloud. "Not a chance, it's not their style," Sasuke replied. "Then why don't we ask Naruto what he thinks?" Ino said. "What?" Hinata responded. "After we all get out of class, we go to Katana's and ask him what he thinks happened." That won't work, Kitana said. Why not? Naruto no longer lives with us. He left us. What happened? Kiba asked. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, he is still in the village, though, so searching for him won't be easy. Then after class, we all go looking for Naruto. Do you have any idea where in the village he could be, Kitana? No, Ino, I don't. Oh, come on, he is your brother. Not according to him, he is not. Naruto cuts down another demon, being a demonic samurai in the demonic-looking parody world of the Leaf. He was no longer in the poor district of the village, but now approaching the familiar academy he sees ahead. Naruto was led here as every other path he tried going down was blocked, so something told him that he was getting close to his demon. He then saw his target being the little demon girl spotter up ahead. She was near to what looked like the training grounds next to the academy, as the little girl in the cloak with the hood over her head was walking next to the gate that surrounded the training ground, gliding her fingertips along the gate. Hey! The little demon girl spotter looked over her shoulder at Naruto, flashing him a smile, and ran off. She was laughing as it echoed, sounding creepy with Naruto chasing after her. Little brat. Naruto came to a stop, looking ahead upon the academy grounds. He saw the little demon girl spotter on a swing set attached to a tree, swinging on it, and she was laughing as she continued to swing. Naruto tried sneaking up on her, bringing his hand up behind his right shoulder, ready to take hold of rebellion. However, when he came stepping upon the grass, it cracks aloud as if he stepped on glass. The little demon girl spotter heard him and got off the swing, running to the entry doors of the academy, and she was really fast on her feet even when Naruto tried to snatch her at the last second. Follow me, she said aloud with laughter afterwards. Naruto cursed and looked where she went, inside being the academy itself. When he looked upon the sign that would always say Leaf Village Academy, there was a word over academy and instead said barracks in its place. Leaf Village Barracks. This place is just all about negativity, isn't it? Then again, it may not be wrong. Naruto entered into the academy, looking down the hallway, and as he walked down the hall, the floor, the ceiling above, and walls opposite of him having what looked to be burnt patches of black following him. It was as if he was in some body and he was a virus, and as he walked he was infecting it, thus the black patches following him. He came to a stop as he heard familiar voices echo around him. So after class, we will all go looking for Naruto. I know that annoying voice, Naruto said. He turned around, seeing the ghostly apparitions of Ino, Sasuke, Kitana, Sakura, Kiba, Shino, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Choji. Oh no, it's the annoying Ino. The apparitions walked right through him, and out of curiosity, Naruto decided to follow. Watch, once we find Naruto, you all will see what he really is, being nothing but a criminal. Ino said. Oh please, whatever you say, slut. Naruto responded, knowing they can't hear him. He followed them, seeing them going inside a classroom that was Uruka's, watching all the ghostly apparitions walk to their seats, with what he can tell being Uruka's apparition standing before the class teaching. He then looked to the chalkboard and saw for some reason the word ninja written upon it within the real world, but in here a word over it said killer. He then heard that laugh being from the little demon spotter girl, so he went low, grabbing the hilt of his blade, and looked to an empty seat up in the second row, revealing her. The spotter peeks over from behind the desk with a smile and began laughing at him. This seat is where Naruto would have been sitting if he was in the academy, or at least that is what he liked to think if he ever got the chance to attend. You're going down. With the draw of his blade, he leaps into the air with blade overhead, swinging it down upon the demon girl, sitting behind the desk. However, she was fast as she evades his attack, jumping away, laughing as him still as the rebellion crashing through the desk, breaking it to pieces. With that action performed upon said desk in the world Naruto was trapped in was a reaction, as in the real world of Uruka's classroom. Sasuke was listening as Uruka continued to talk, paying attention and thinking about revenge upon his brother, as Sakura was seated next to him to his left, while to his right was that empty desk. Suddenly, that desk next to Sasuke explodes too many pieces from an unknown invisible force, making the class scream in shock, with Sasuke having his arms up blocking the small pieces of wood. What the hell was that? Kiba yelled, freaked out at what just happened. Calm down, Uruka yelled to the class. Back with Naruto in the demonic-styled world, he removes his blade from where it impacts and looks over his shoulder to seeing the demon girl on the floor below, skipping past Uruka's ghost apparition. The demon girl was taunting him, and Naruto didn't like being taunted at especially by a demon. Naruto then spears Rebellion, throwing it toward the little demon girl, who cartwheels, evading the blade, laughing as she did so as the Rebellion stabs into the wall. Action in this world causing a reaction in the real, as in the real world Uruka suddenly ducks as a part of the wall is suddenly impacted by an unknown force, causing the class to further screaming in fear. "Stay calm," Uruka yelled aloud once again. "Are we under attack?" "I'm freaking out, man," Kiba yelled. Katana, who was sitting in another part of the classroom, was freaking out as well. She didn't know what was going on. She was afraid. Were they under attack? Was the village under attack? What was going on right now? Back with Naruto, he watches as the demon girl opens the sliding door of the classroom open to closing it behind her, still laughing at him. Naruto leaped down to the floor below, jogging over to his Rebellion, stabbed into the wall, grasping the hilt of the blade, pulling it out. "Get back here, you brat!" Naruto yelled. He ran to the door and kicked it down, and in the real world the class jumped, seeing their classroom door detach, falling down as if some supernatural force was involved, like as if it were paranormal activity. Returning to Naruto, he ran out of the room, looking down the hall, seeing the demon girl standing at the end. She was just standing there looking at him with that creepy smile of hers. Naruto would admit that was just creepy because it was like the scene out of a horror movie, but real. "Hey, stop running and fight." He ran down the hall toward the girl, but the hall all of a sudden stretches, becoming longer, causing him to stop in his tracks, seeing a new demon revealing itself, bursting out of the floor and flapping its black wings in the air. The demon looked like a crow, but it was bigger than most. Some of the feathers it had were blood red, with most being black. Its talons were razor sharp with curves in them. Its eyes were red with slit pupils and screeched at him, and the sounds of its screech would make one want to clamp down on their ears, as even looking upon its beak, if used as a weapon, would deliver great pain. The demon was called Screech. "Flock off." The screech, well, it screeches aloud, making Naruto clamp down on his ears, hurting his eardrums. The screech takes advantage of Naruto's current state and clamps its talons down upon his shoulders. The talons hurt like hell, digging into his skin, drawing blood, and the screech throws Naruto against the wall, putting in a dent that appears in the real world as well. The screech backs off as Naruto gets himself together, with his wounds healing, as now he had more holes in his shirt to add to the ones Kiba made. "All right, you're in for it now." He jumped up to and swung his blade at the screech, but the demon caught Naruto's blade within its talons and spun Naruto around to slam him into the wall. But Naruto runs along it, letting Naruto take advantage of the demon's grasp on his blade, and swings his blade down along with demon into the floor. He then quickly stabs Rebellion into the demon, making demon screech out in pain before the demon dies, bursting into ash. Naruto turns back to the demon girl, who runs to a staircase leading up to the next floor, and he was going to give pursuit, but two more screeches this time emerge out of the ceiling. The two flap away from Naruto, putting distance between them and Naruto as they spread their wings afar, and the red feathers within their wings began to glow with intensity. "Death," the demonic voice said, with said word appearing on the wall to his left, from said word by the voice appearing on the wall to his left, above. The final word of the demonic voice's taunt said and spelled on the ceiling above. The two screeches fly across the air with their wings afar over Naruto, while releasing a hail of their red feathers down upon him. But it was a good thing that Naruto was a quick thinker, as he spun his blade above his head, deflecting deadly feathers away, stabbing into the walls. Close one. He turns to the screeches behind him and quickly charges a drive, slashing the red slash of demonic energy through the air with said attack, colliding with the demons, killing them as they turn to fiery ash. He sheathes his blade over his back to turning and chasing after the little demon girl that went up to the next floor. He just hoped that the stairs didn't suddenly collapse on him like they did the last time he was dragged here. Luckily for him, no such thing happened, as he was now on the next floor of the academy, or what this world liked to call it, the barracks. On the second floor, he couldn't find his little spotter as he looked down the hallways of the academy on this floor and had to go exploring. As he did, he would encounter lesser demonic samurai that would pop out of the floor, but they weren't a problem for Naruto anymore. But he did notice his paths became blocked with rising black rocks. Clearly, the demonic forces at work did not want him going anywhere. However, also at the same time, This worked to his advantage, knowing that the demon was not going to be in said direction, meaning he was close besides being damn annoying of taking a wrong turn. He finally caught sight of his target within a hallway next to a door that she opened and walked into the room. Naruto ran down the hall after her and heard, and was lucky enough to not have any demons try to surprise him. Walking into the room, the little spotter went into the door behind him, closes by itself slamming behind him, and a rising black rock through the floor blocking his escape. Nowhere to Geo. The demonic voice says, with the words spelling themselves on the floor Naruto has never seen before, but in actuality, this was the room where missions were given out to squads of ninja. Jonin and their squad of genin would come to this room to receive a variety of missions labeled different levels of importance by none other than the Hokage of the leaf itself. From the looks of it, there was no one in the room in the real world, as he saw no one seated behind the long table, but the view of the demonic-looking village behind them in the background was present for him to gaze upon. His sight away from the demonic parody of the leaf was taken away when she reveals herself leaping atop the table in front of Naruto. There may be nowhere for me to go now, but there is nowhere for you to go either, so let's get this over with already. The little demon girl chuckles, spreading her little arms apart as she then suddenly floats into the air and reveals her true form. Her cloak become long and black with what looked to have tears in them, pale hands revealing themselves out from under its cloak's sleeves. Her face became pale and eyes turned black, as well as her hair becoming long a black, and lastly her smile showing her dirty teeth that were sharp. She laughed aloud as she brought her right hand up above her head, and appearing in a purple flash was a scythe being its main weapon. The demon was called Lady Death. The Lady Death spun her scythe above her head and threw it toward Naruto, with the scythe spinning toward Naruto, but he jumped over it as the scythe barely missing, cutting Naruto's bag. Naruto lands back down on his feet with the Lady Death stretching out her hand as her hand glows a faint red color, and her scythe spins, coming back within her grasp as she catches her weapon. "Fancy trick you got there," Naruto said to the Lady Death that twirled around in the air. "I like it." Lady Death soars down toward him with speed, rearing her scythe to strike upon Naruto, but Naruto, however, ducks under the demon's attack and counters, kicking up like how Rock Lee would perform his lotus. However, as much as Naruto expected to kick the demon into the air, that didn't happen, as his foot seemed to phase through it as it flew over him and through the walls. Whoa. He looked toward where the demon flew through, being the exit that was blocked. He drew his blade from his back, backing up to the center of the room while looking around. It was quiet, too quiet. "Where are you, demon?" In the real world, within the academy in Uruka's classroom, all of the students were cleared out. The students were outside of the academy, away from the scene, with Uruka was outside with them to calm them down. Inside Uruka's classroom were ANBU Ninja along with Kakashi, and the fourth was also present in the room. The ANBU were investigating this phenomenon, looking at the damage, wondering what caused such a thing. "What is going on?" Kakashi asked. "I wish I knew," the fourth replied. "First, the quake yesterday night, not to mention on that night, several witnesses claim to have seen a food stand break away in the village square, as if someone was thrown into, but nothing was. There is a jutsu that comes close to invisibility, but acts more like a camouflage, but isn't effective if on the move. The jutsu is most effective if you stand still while you observe your target, and the villagers would have noticed what many call the man bubble. It's flawed when it comes to movement." "Ah, yes, the flaw of that particular camouflage jutsu," Kakashi said as he noticed Minato looking upon where the destroyed desk was. Wouldn't Naruto be sitting there if he was never forbidden to becoming a ninja? "I always imagined." Naruto in the demonic world was still standing center in the room with his blade in his right hand's grasp, his eyes closed, and his senses on the alert, remaining calm. His eye opens slowly, and then they narrow as he motions his eyes slowly to his left, and then his right. He then suddenly flips himself back into the air, avoiding the Lady Death's scythe phasing through the floor below him, with the demon herself, who failed, cutting Naruto up the middle. Naruto lands back on the floor on his feet and quickly brings up his blade as the Lady Death came swooshing back down at him again, swinging her scythe, but Naruto blocks it, throwing her aside through the air. He quickly slashes a drive toward the Lady Death, who brings up her scythe to block Naruto's attack, but the force of the attack makes her stagger back, leaving Naruto to take advantage, performing Stinger, stabbing his blade into her to pulling it out, and continues his attack with his blade. The Lady Death was now able to be physically damaged due to her losing concentration from the stagger, so he finishes up with a death coil. "Launch!" he yelled. He clubs the Lady Death into the wall with his blade, with the demon putting a dent into the wall upon its impact that would show in the real world. When she hits the wall, Naruto then performed an overdrive on the demon, damaging it further with the strikes from the attack. With each strike, pushed her further into the wall. Naruto then spears his rebellion toward Lady Death, as the demon's face is then impaled by Naruto's sword rebellion. The demon losing grip of its weapon that disappears, and then Naruto sees its right hand glow that faint red to flowing toward his very own right hand. The demon then dissolves away in a fiery red ash with his blade rebellion still in the wall. He looks to his right hand that no longer glows a faint red to looking at his sword, and he holds his hand out to his blade. The blade vibrates, and then is pulled out spinning back toward Naruto, who then brings his hand up into the air, catching his rebellion above his head to twirling it above his head, and then sheathes it on his back. Dante. Naruto was now free from the demonic world once again, as he watched the world around him turn back to normal now, standing within the missions room of the academy as his blade on his back vanishes in a red flash. He looked around, seeing and making sure he was back in the real world, to seeing the damage on the wall. He now had to leave, otherwise if anyone came in here it would not be good for him. Last thing he wants is to be brought in for questioning and taken in for damaging property, which he really did and wasn't going to admit any time soon or ever. He looked down upon his shirt, seeing the holes. My favorite shirt. Naruto was now standing in an alley looking across to the academy, as ANBU were within the area, now investigating the paranormal happenings within the academy, as well as the damage within the missions room. Villagers even were in the area wondering what happened in the academy, wondering if the academy was attacked. Naruto turned his back, walking away, not wanting to be near the scene, because he was sure that if people saw him near the area they would point the finger at him. Of course they were going to blame him because he was the supposed nine-tailed fox that took their loved ones years ago. Damn, he hated these people. I'm hungry. He decides to go to the only place that he is welcomed, being Ikaraku Ramen. In the front of the Leaf Village Academy, all the academy students were gathered out front awaiting news of what happened inside. They were all talking amongst one another, with each in their own little groups, as well as the Rookie Nine, Sasuke, Sakura, Katana, Kiba, Hinata, Shino, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji. Can you believe what we all just saw? Ino asked with a small hint of fear in her voice. The desk just exploded. Sasuke said. Sasuke was surprised what happened and somewhat curious, wondering if it was someone used a jutsu attacking the academy. A terrorist attack. Did you see the way the door just flew off like that? Kiba asked the group. Most curious, wouldn't you say, Katana? Shino asked. Yes, very curious. Everyone all turned to the front of the academy, seeing the fourth Hokage with Kakashi and some ANBU ninja by his side. Due to the mysterious current events that have transpired here at the academy, you are all released early today. You will all be notified when you may return to the academy. Minato announced aloud. Well, at least we got out early, Kiba said as everyone began to disperse. What are we supposed to do now? Choji asked. I'm going home to get some sleep, Shikamaru said, but was stopped as Ino grabs the back of his collar. That's all you ever do, Shikamaru? None of us are going home just yet. Don't tell me, Shikamaru began with an annoyed tone. That's right, we are all going to look for Naruto. Who knows, once we find him and you all see him for what he really is, I wouldn't be surprised if he was behind this attack. That is just bullshit, and you know it. Naruto doesn't attend the academy, so how can he have been behind something that we couldn't see? Shikamaru argued. I agree with Shikamaru. After what happened today, I'm not so much as a believer of Naruto being behind all of this. It seems ridiculous. Plus, we have to attend Katana's party tonight, Choji said and reminded. I only wish Naruto was attending, Katana said with a little sadness in her voice. You really want Naruto to attend, don't you? Hinata asked with a smile. Yes, I need to talk to him. Why would you want him to come? From what I remember, the guy never attended any of your parties. Ino said. Well, Naruto did attend the first few, but the only thing was he was treated as if he were a ghost because everyone was so preoccupied with only giving Katana attention, so Naruto then thought he would just not attend anymore. Plus, even with their birthdays being on the same day was even more of a blow to Naruto emotionally. So are we all going to go searching out Naruto or what? Ino asked, getting impatient. Ino, we have all just been through a traumatic experience. The attack yesterday night in the village, thank goodness none of us were there and no one got seriously hurt, but today we were all attacked in the academy, and not to mention in our own homeroom. I mean, these attacks are most likely a case of terrorism. Sakura pointed out, she's right, Ino, we should first recover before we go out looking for Naruto. Hinata agreed, I agree. Kitana agreed, fine. My place is closer, Sasuke offered. Thank you, Sasuke. Kitana said with a smile, with Sasuke only giving a nod. It's not like the guy hated company, but in fact he welcomed it because it did get lonely where he lived and the Uchiha district was like a ghost town. Kitana, Minato addressed, making Kiba jump, seeing as the man was behind him. Damn, you're fast. Kiba said, thank you, Minato replied with a smile. Your dad is so cool. Ino said with hearts in her eyes, with Sakura having the same. Kitana, are you all right? Minato asked, concerned for his daughter. I'm okay, Dad. Is it okay we go to Sasuke's? Well, seeing as what happened at the academy today, I don't know. Please, Dad. Okay, it's just that after what happened last night and now this. Don't worry about me. Besides, I got my friends here with me to protect me. Lord Fourth, we will protect your daughter with our lives. Kiba said aloud, with Ino rolling her eyes at him. That's appreciated, but nonetheless I want all of you to keep your senses on the alert. Is that understood? The Rookie Nine with all of them gives the fourth Hokage a nod. Well then, off you all go, and don't worry, I will inform the rest of your parents where you are at and ensure them you are safe. He watched them walk away until he came to his thoughts, and he was worried for him. I hope you're okay, Naruto. Naruto was walking the streets of the Leaf, feeling the glares like he did every day in his miserable, entertaining life. It wasn't surprising that he could already hear the people muttering, blaming him for the attack on the academy. Murderer. A villager called him. Whatever. Naruto replied as he walked on. He looked up to seeing a camera on the side of a power pole panning left and right. These were also referred to as LS cameras or Leaf security cameras. These cameras were placed in the village to watch over if seeing anything suspicious activity, as well as looking out for the people of the Leaf. Naruto was sure that a camera or two had caught him beating up his attackers on more than one occasion. If you looked on the side of the camera, there was a letter on the side of it in the color blue, with the letter on its side being a V showing who the manufacturer was. The Leaf Village used to have standard old cameras, but was replaced by these cameras when they came out. In fact, it was said that only less than 31% of the 5 great nations had these particular cameras with the V insignia upon it. Hey, these V cameras were not cheap. However, the still standard, more common normal camera brand still around in most of the villages and cities. The LS, or V camera, turns facing down at Naruto, zooming in on him, seeing that Naruto was looking up at it. In a disclosed location somewhere in the village, there was a room that had ninjas watching the multiple screens, watching over the village, searching for anything suspicious. One of the ninjas was looking at the screen, seeing Naruto looking up at the camera on screen. Hey, look at this on camera 148. The Leaf Chunin ninja called out. 2 other ninja came by, looking over the ninja's shoulders at the screen, seeing Naruto in it. It's the 4th's demon child. What happened to his shirt? Leaf Chunin Ninja 2 asked, noticing the holes made by the demons that attacked Naruto and Kiba's nails across his shirt. Who cares? Leaf Chunin Ninja 3 replied. Hey guys, Naruto on screen said, getting their attention. Naruto then brings up his right hand and gives them the finger with a smile. Put a spin on this. That demon fox little bastard. Back with Naruto on the streets, he chuckles to himself as he had a feeling the guys watching were pissed at his current action. But he didn't care as he continued on his merry way, whistling to himself. Within the Uchiha district, inside the main house where Sasuke resided by himself, and where his family used to when they were alive, all of the Rookie Nine were present inside the living room. Shino was standing just outside on the patio with slide double doors open behind him where the living room was inside. The bug user was attending to one of his insects upon his finger. Kiba was sitting on the couch with Hinata, as Kiba had the remote in his hands, flipping channels on Sasuke's large-screen TV in the room, sitting in Indian style. No, Sakura and Katana were seated around a small long table with Shikamaru laying down on one of the other couches, while Choji was seated at the end of said couch Shikamaru was laying on. Sasuke, in the meantime, was out getting food for everyone, and it was on him, so he would be back soon. "Oh man, Sasuke's TV is bigger than the one we got back at my place," Kiba said. "Well, the Uchihas were powerful and went on many missions." Ino said, "Man, it's because he is loaded." "Why are you complaining? Just get one yourself." "Even being from one of the main clans of the village, I don't have access to our clan's funds like Sasuke does to his." That was true, as the Uchiha clan, when all of them were still alive, were the ones that received most missions, and not to mention that they were the police force of the village, thus they earned more money. Ino was referring to that as to how this very expensive TV was present in Sasuke's home with the TV running on its batteries when in use. "Oh yeah, they were like gods," Kiba said, mocking Ino's earlier comment about the Uchiha being the most powerful. "The clan was powerful, but not gods," Sasuke's voice said. Sasuke had walked in with bags of food he got from a restaurant from within the village. Itachi killing everyone off said otherwise, Sasuke thought. Sasuke and everyone else gathered around the long table taking out their food. "Kiba, stop surfing on the TV and come eat," Sasuke demanded. "All right, Mom," Kiba said as he flicked to one more channel before tossing the remote aside. He joined the others, but the channel he changed to, however, was in fact a news channel of the Hidden Leaf Village that would divulge in details, such as on missions of that of ninja, as well as the weather, the going on in the village and everywhere else in Fire Country. The news channel was called Leaf Embers News Network. Leaf, within the title of the name of the network, was of course representing the Leaf Village, as well as being the symbol of Fire Country. Embers within the name were representing the people of the Leaf Village, as well as all that reside within Fire Country. Fire Country was not the only nation to have a news network, but also the other 4 great nations, with each reporting the happenings within their respective nations. The broadcastings of these respective news channels only broadcasted within their own countries, and not to foreign nations. However, if nations were allies to one another, such as Fire and Wind Country, then both news channels can be viewed within both countries on their networks. The tune for the Leaf Embers News Network channel then played a loud signaling to Sakura, who was on. "Hey, my mom is on." She saw her mother viewed on the screen as the camera circled her. Her name was Rose Haruno. She was news anchor of the Leaf Embers News Network. She had her hair in a ponytail, and she wore glasses over her eyes, as well as wearing her uniform as a news anchor. "Sakura's mom is so hot that I would love to have delivered my good with her, if you know what I mean. I would pound that all night," Kiba thought as he took a bite of his food watching the TV. Rose Haruno then began to speak, gaining attention of everyone in their homes of what she had to say. "As you all know, my fellow people of the Hidden Leaf Village, the village was attacked yesterday night during our celebration of the defeat of the 9-tailed fox, thanking the heroes that gave their lives for us all those many years ago. Yesterday night, during a peaceful celebration, the village was attacked, with our sources telling us that the Fire government has not yet identified any possible suspects." Rose Haruno seemed to turn her head in another direction with another camera at a different angle showing her on screen. "Here is some footage of the attack yesterday night provided by the assistance of the Leaf security cameras placed around the village. Be warned to any young audiences you may have present with you. What you see may be disturbing." The group watched as the screen showed a camera view showing the street with people celebrating, and then a second later the ground shakes, as well as the buildings, including the camera itself. The street cracking and parts of it rising out of it as men, women, and children were screaming in terror, with glass windows shattering to the camera going to static, as the screaming elevated in volume before the sound of static taking over. "Kami," Hinata said in horror at such an event. The picture on the screen shrinks to a small box to the upper left corner of the screen, showing Rose Haruno on screen again. In further news today, the Leaf Village Academy was apparently the next target of the unknown terrorists. The ninja of the Leaf Village are doing their best investigating these attacks to the best of their ability, with the help of the ANBU Black Ops even. As a result, having the young in mind, the 4th Hokage dismissed the students for the rest of the day to recover from this terrifying attack. He will inform all when the academy is back open for students to continue their pursuit of their ninja carriers in protecting us all. Does your mom always have to report the obvious? Kiba tried to taunt. Wham! Kiba was now holding his hands upon the top of his head, having suffered a punch from Sakura. Shut it, Kiba. She is just doing her job. Now with that aside, let us talk about who we believe could be behind these apparent attacks. Rose Haruno said on the screen. Hearing that subject gained all of their attention. Who do they think it was? Was it a criminal organization of sorts like the one they heard whispers about in the news? Sasuke in particular recalled hearing Sakura's mom talk about a criminal organization called Plaque, or something. He may be remembering the name wrong, most likely. Maybe she was going to give her opinion that it was one of the major nations or their village's enemies. Could it be the people of Rock? Could they want revenge for their loss at the hands of our beloved fourth Hokage and memorable third? This news reporter doesn't think so, as we all know that Hidden Rock would not risk war against the might of Fire Country and ultimately the Leaf. Was it perhaps the Hidden Mist or Hidden Cloud? Was it perhaps our very own allies hidden amongst the sands? No, of course not. However, there is one individual that this reporter thinks is responsible. That grabs the attention of everyone in the living room, with Kiba having a mouth full of rice, Choji with a leg of chicken, Ino, Sakura and Katana with their salad held before their mouths before they can even bite on their food. Everyone else with their food put it down for the second to hear who Sakura's mom thought was the one individual responsible. Who could she be talking about? What one individual could be responsible for attacks like these? I believe whether the fourth agrees with me or not, as well as his very own people, but I am sure the people will see the truth. It is this. The familiar picture of none other than Naruto Uzumaki giving the finger with a smile on his face appears on the upper right corner of the screen, as it was a snapshot of Naruto flipping the finger at that camera today, individual. Wow, at? Shikamaru said in that tone that said that is ridiculous as he sat himself up. You got to be kidding me, right? Please tell you mother is joking, Sakura. Rose continued to speak on screen. Naruto Namikaze, or what everyone in the village sees for what he truly is, being the very monster that took the lives of our loved ones many years ago on that night. He carries the very soul of the monster that had tried to destroy our village 14 years ago, meaning that he is the nine-tailed fox. There is no simpler explanation here, everyone. Were it not for the heroes that gave their lives defending our precious village, the combined efforts of the fourth and third, as well as the sweet old man's noble sacrifice his plans, and when I mean his, I mean this little shithead on screen. His plans of sending us all to extinction would have been a reality. Shikamaru couldn't believe all of this nonsense that didn't make any sense at all. He really can't believe that people buy into this crap. The people see for what he really is, but why can't our current Hokage see the same? Why can't he see past his facade? Now despite, she brought her hands up making bunny ears and bent them while saying, Naruto haven't been proven to be nowhere near the scene of the first terrorist attack. This doesn't make him innocent. However, Rose brought up a finger to the screen. Several eyewitness reports have claimed seeing Naruto running away from the scene of the attack upon the Leaf Village Academy just an hour ago. Eyewitnesses said that he seemed to be in a hurry to get away. Naruto Namikaze, he is rude, dangerous, rebellious, and most of all a smart ass. In light of all this, moments later, this footage was captured by one of the many Leaf security cameras within our village in the south district of the village. Rose then looked off to her left, and that snapshot of Naruto in the upper right of the screen enlarged, taking up the whole screen, and looked to rewind, revealing that it was pre-recorded footage, and it then played. Hey guys, put a spin on this. Naruto said on screen. Naruto giving the finger with that smile on his face, and then the footage pauses to shrinking to the upper right corner of the screen where it was before. You want to know when this footage was captured? I was moments after the current attack that took place on the young of the academy. What does this tell us, my fellow citizens? Is he taunting us all after what he committed at the Leaf Village Academy today? Is there more to come as he plots what's next to harm to the good, innocent people of the hidden Leaf Village? This reporter thinks so. Rose finished off with adjusting her papers on her desk, and then the tune of the news channel begins to play, signaling the end of the broadcast. This is Rose Haruno of the Leaf Embers News Network, just preaching the truth. The screen then changes to the title saying Leaf Embers News Network, having what looked to be a leaf beside the word leaf, and going under the title looked to look like smaller leaves blowing in a wind. What a load of bull, Shikamaru said as he put rice in his mouth. What do you mean? Sakura asked. Sakura, you and I both know that Naruto was nowhere near the academy he is forbidden from ever crossing within. Shikamaru reminded. It was true not only was Naruto never to become a ninja, learn jutsu or how to fight, but also as to go as far as not allowing him to learn gaining in the pursuit of knowledge. Yeah, the leaf sucks. So you're calling my mother a liar? Sakura said, narrowing her eyes. Yes, Shikamaru replied with no shame. Since when did you ever care about Naruto, Shikamaru? Ino asked. He's a hero, didn't you know that? Also, it's not that I care about him, I don't even really know him, but I do know that it's bullshit blaming all of this on him. I doesn't add right. Shikamaru answered, Hero? Yeah, right, how can he be a hero? The heroes are Katana and her parents, including the third. What did Naruto do that would make him so heroic? Let's see, I don't know, perhaps. Oh, that's right, he saved Hinata from being kidnapped by Cloud, so you must have forgotten that again. Oh, and he also holds a part of the fox in him, and you forgot to mention those ninjas that sacrificed their lives that night when the fox attacked their heroes too, Ino. Correction, Naruto holds the fox itself while Katana holds its chakra. Ino said, Chakra is a part of someone as well if it belongs to that person or to a demon, Ino. Honestly, if you paid attention in that part of class, rather than attending to your hair and ogling over Sasuke, you would know this. I dare you to say THAT again. Ino yelled with fire in her eyes. Troublesome. Shikamaru thought. Guys, how about we just eat? Besides, it looks like Choji is about to finish his meal already. Katana said, giggling at Choji's extreme hunger for food. When we finish, we can all go looking for Naruto. Ino reminded. You know, now I'm curious to meet Naruto. Sakura said, You are. Sakura, trust me, you're not missing out on anything, so don't get your hopes up. He is a bad influence. He's a criminal, I'm telling you, and after this you will all see how right I am. Oh boy, Sasuke said in an annoyed tone. Back to our DMC Naruto/Dante. He was in a fight right now within an alley somewhere within the south district of the village. Naruto delivers an uppercut to the bottom of the knife-wielding villagers, just sending him up into the air to flipping over the fence and falling into somebody's yard, and left laying all around Naruto, there were 5 unconscious bodies. Naruto ducks under a punch from a villager that attacks him to wringing his left arm over the man's shoulder to smashing the man's head through the fence that was behind him, knocking his opponent out. Naruto then starts to hop atop his feet like a boxer while giving his hands a single clap together and was laughing and then stops with his jumping around. That was fun, guys. Sweet dreams, he said to the idiotic villagers. He dusted off his black-gloved hands with a smile on his face. He then hears approaching footsteps and so quickly runs to hiding behind 2 trash cans. Who came running in the alley was another villager with a blunt object who missed out on the ambush, but seeing his friends on the ground, it was obvious they lost, again. The villager goes to his unconscious friend, who was just in front of the trash, Ken's taking a knee next to him with his back to the trash. Ken's Naruto was hiding behind, who slowly rises from the background with a smile on his face. He looks down to the 2 trash, Ken's in front of him having a lid on each one, giving him an idea. It was an awfully funny, devilishly delicious, cruel idea that would remind you of that one scene from a funny cartoon on TV. He quietly grabs the lids, lifting them off the trash cans, to creeping around the cans, to standing behind the unaware villager. He then holds them apart from the sides of the villager's head, and then... What's that smell? The villager said as he slowly looked over his shoulder, and that's when it happened. Bang! Naruto slammed both lids into the sides of the villager's head, making the villager's head shake for a bit, and then fell down, joining the others on the ground in the alley. Naruto stretching his arms up in the air, with the lids having dents of the sides of the villager's head on them, with the young Naruto's eyes closed, having a big smile on his face, as he was thinking winner and yes, as well as victory. Before leaving, Naruto had one of the villagers over his shoulder, drops him in one of the trash, cans with the villager's legs sticking out of the can as Naruto slams the lid atop his ass. The other lid of the trash can is suddenly lifted up, slowly revealing a dazed villager that Naruto put in the can, but with Naruto walking by, he slammed his right fist down upon the lid, knocking the villager out again back into the trash can where he belonged at this moment. Smell you guys later. Well, that sounded stupid now, didn't it? Naruto comes walking back within the streets of the village, getting the occasional glare when he comes to a stop in front of a stores that sold TVs, and they just happening to be broadcasting the Leaf Ember's new network with Rose Haruno speaking ill of him again. He can see his picture on the upper right corner of the screen with him giving the finger. Naruto only laughed, patting the palm of his hands atop his knees. "Hey, it's me again," Naruto said as he went to crossing his arms, listening to the rest of what Rose Haruno had to say about him again. "Naruto Namikaze," Rose Haruno on the TV said. "Look at that, you call that being a news reporter when she can't even get my name right. Well, so much for her good sources," Naruto said as he was no longer a Namikaze and continued to listen what Rose had to say about him. "He is rude," Naruto nod his head. "Dangerous," Naruto nod his head again. "Rebellious," Naruto nods his head again with smile still present on his face, "and most of all a smartass." Naruto slightly bows while having a hand placed atop his chest. "That's me." He continued to listen to the rest of her report, going on to him being the one attacking the academy, which he rolled his eyes to watching the footage of flipping the camera off. He tilted his head, observing his captured image, and at least they got something right. At least they got my good side this time. This is Rose Haruno of the Leaf Embers News Network just preaching the truth. You mean preaching your stupid lies, you lying ass bitch. He wandered the street for about an hour and felt hungry, so he decided to go to the only place he felt welcomed, and not to mention he can afford. He arrived at Ikaraku Ramen, parting the white aside flaps, walking and sitting atop one of the stools while placing his duffel bag of his belongings on the floor next to him and waited. Then I.M. walks in from the kitchen greeting Naruto. "Hello, Naruto." "Hey." "The usual ramen dish." "You read my mind, hey I.M." "Yes. I got a question for you." "What is it?" It may sound crazy, silly maybe. Well, to her he suspects, "Do you see monsters?" "Monsters?" "Yeah, you know, like maybe you saw someone with gouged out like eyes around the village or something." "No, I have never seen anything like that. Why do you ask?" "Never mind." He then decided to ask another question. "Do you believe in demons?" "Do I believe in demons?" "Yeah, do you believe in demons?" "Well, as much as I believe in God, then I believe in the devil, so if there are angels, then there are of course demons." "God, huh," Naruto said in a low tone. I.M. finished his order to turning round and placing it down upon the table in front of Naruto. "Tell me, Naruto, do you believe in God?" "Do I believe in God?" Naruto repeated her question as she gave him a nod. I.M. did not have to wait a second more for Naruto's immediate answer. "No." "Why not?" "Because if God were real, then why would he give me this life of mine?" I.M. felt sorry for him. "I'm sorry, I.M. I'm not the religious type. I am not as much as a believer likes you." "It's too bad because he believes in you." Naruto chuckles. "No offense, but the day he shines his light upon me and tells me that himself is when I will believe. What is there to believe in? You know why I don't pray to the guy upstairs?" "The reason is because he never answers, because with that I believe there is no such thing as God." Naruto ended it there and went on to eating his meal with I.M. letting him. She can understand why Naruto feels this way toward the subject. His life was the very reason in his beliefs. Naruto found himself walking the streets again minutes later with his hands within the pockets of his pants. God was in his mind. Why did he not believe in God? Living with the Namikazes, he did pray. He prayed for answers in his life as to why he was treated like this, but he didn't get any answers. All he got was more pain, and he felt his prayers were unanswered, and so gave up praying. He gave up believing in something called God. "It's the demon that attacked the academy," a villager whispered to another. "You got something to say?" Naruto yelled, turning to the man who jumped. Naruto walked up to the man and shoved him to the ground and was standing over the man who had a black eye. "If you have something to say, assholes, then say it to my face because I'm right here. I'll introduce you to MY Fist again. Fuck you." Naruto then kicked dirt in the man's face and looked to the other villager. "What the hell are you looking at?" The villager backed off as Naruto continued on his way to nowhere when a villager gave him a hateful look. Naruto gave the villager the hand-over gesture of "fuck you." He found himself walking amongst the alleys of the village again, and to be honest, he liked these alleys because there were no glares and no hateful words to be said toward him. "I can't wait to get out of this fucking village." He couldn't escape, or at least not yet, but he would bide his time, and when he saw his opportunity, he would seize it. he just had to be patient and figure out a way to escape. As if his day couldn't get more annoying, he saw the Rookie 9 gang land ahead of him, and seeing Kiba, he was thinking the dog brought more people to have their so-called fun. This ought to be good. He continued on his path, not intending on stopping. If anyone was going to move, then they all better get out of his way because he was not in the mood. You all mind getting out of my way. When they didn't seem to move, he was now holding his arms apart to them. If you don't want to move, I won't have a problem with that. He basically threatened to move them aside if they didn't get out of the way. No, brother, we are not here to fight. Katana said, is that right? Naruto stopped in his tracks and took sight of Kiba. Well, if it isn't the puppy, come for another ass-kicking, humiliating defeat. Why you? Kiba, Katana said, stopping him. Where were you today, Naruto? Ino asked, narrowing her eyes. Well, I would tell you if you be a little more specific. Where were you when the academy was attacked today? Ino demanded. Not at the academy, duh. He wasn't in the Leaf Village Academy, but the Leaf Village Barracks, so there is a difference between the two. Ino, this is pointless. Shikamaru said. Shut it, Shikamaru. Why don't you shut it for once, God forbid? Naruto said because he honestly didn't like her. You be quiet before I come over there and shut your mouth and keep it that way. Ino threatened. You know that's not a bad idea. I got a useful we can both make that work. You can get on your knees and suck it. Naruto taunted with a tooth showing grin. You pervert. Bitch, Naruto replied back with a smile. Monster. I bet you do, and monster size, I reckon. You whore, Ino yelled. Why did she say that and where did that come from? Damn straight. Naruto said even though he is still a virgin, Ino yelled in anger. Shikamar. Choji, kick his ass. Not recommended. Naruto advised them, giving them the no nod, but then again it would be fun. Naruto then took notice of Hinata, and she seemed familiar as he then imagined a younger face, and then it clicked. You're that girl? Hinata, was it? Yes, I never got the chance, but thank you for saving me, Naruto. Don't sweat it. Naruto said as he waved his hand at it. Besides, the Cloud Ninja got what was coming. Their cage then was a bastard anyway. Naruto. Katana addressed. Naruto looked to her. What? He asked in that tone. I want you to come to my birthday tonight and... No. But... I said no. Why are you being an ass? All she asking is for you to attend. Sakura pointed out. Why am I an ass? Naruto repeated, I'm an ass for good reason, and she knows why. Please come, Katana asked. That's only family and I'm not your family. Just let him go, Katana. He probably has more important things to do like plot his next attack. Ino accused. Oh, and who said that? Oh, that's right. This is Rose Haruno of the Leaf Embers News Network just preaching the truth. More like the preaching of a bunch of bullshit from a desperate woman that does nothing but runs her mouth and looks to haven't had any action for over 20 years. Naruto replied, making a humping motion with the use of his hips. Hey, that's my mother you're talking about. Sakura yelled. Oh, and look, the Banshee spawned another. Naruto said with a smile, being an ass at this point. Okay, I say we kick his ass. Sakura yelled. Sakura only wanted to hurt Naruto because of what he said about her mother, not just because she hated him or wanted to hurt him. No, Katana yelled. She wanted to invite Naruto to her party. Naruto, please, I want you to come. Naruto didn't give an answer as he walked forward toward Katana's direction. They were wondering what he was going to do, and they thought it was going to be violent, and it was actually intimidating seeing him getting closer and closer. The gang was on their guard, ready for a fight, especially Sasuke, knowing Naruto was strong as he was getting closer, and then he brushes right past Katana through the group, not brining any harm upon them. They all actually felt the intensity of his hatred as he walked past all of them. Katana had her head down in sadness. You're welcomed if you come by. Katana said loud enough for Naruto to hear, and he did, but he just kept on walking. Where are you going, brother? Off to plot my next attack, apparently. Katana turned around and said aloud for him to hear. I'm sorry. Naruto stopped in his tracks with his back to her. I'm sorry for all the things I did. Blaming everything on you, it wasn't right. Naruto, brother, please come, I want to make things right, please. Naruto looked over his shoulder at her and saw that she was on the verge of tears. Why does he feel sorry for her now all of a sudden? Truth be told, he doesn't really hate his sister. He is just frustrated with all of this drama in his life. He gives out a sigh coming to a decision. We'll see. He couldn't believe that he was actually giving her a chance. Now he didn't guarantee that he was coming, but saying that he would but still a we'll see is better than a no. It was enough to bring a small smile upon her face. He may or not attend the party tonight. See you there, Naruto. Katana said, getting a wave from over his shoulder as he exited out of the other side of the alley, turning around corner going down a street. Later that night, Naruto was walking up toward the household of the Namikaze family. He did not know why he was doing this, but for some reason he was. As he went up to the door about to bring his hand up upon the door knob to open it, he can already hear the party inside. The people who attended he was to knowing Vergil was there, as the guy has never missed one of Katana's parties. His hand stops from reaching the doorknob as he hears Katana receive her next present. Mom, Dad, this is the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto's eyes widen once again, not in surprise, but in that of shock. Memories came flowing back to him when he was younger before the elders, and people that put out that petition to ban him from learning how to be a ninja. They promised, Minato and Kushina, to teach him the Shadow Clone Jutsu first, and here they were giving the Jutsu to her as a birthday gift. His forehead was against the door as his hair was shadowing his eyes with his hands balling into fists. Should have known. Naruto leaves. Don't forget to join Patreon. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share, and do comments.